Okay.
Okay. All right, y'all. Okay, so the way we're gonna do this
Hey,
is
Savannah. What's up, Lisa? Oh, Jeanette, what's going on?
hey guys. Oh,
I
it's
bet
been nice
everyone's
to
like,
see
oh
you
my
all.
God, I can't believe they're doing this together.
They made it here.
Right? Seriously.
No, I'm so excited. I'm glad. I was worried about that. I'm glad y'all made it here. Okay, so
Middle here. My Virgo's going crazy because I'm not in the middle. There we go.
all right. So I'm gonna get started by connecting to spirit and doing see what I get for the different signs. We'll always start with like Aries because I like to keep track of that's like, I don't know, I'm just accustomed to doing it that way. But let me just get my incense going here and get set up. We can get this rolling. Get my notebook. Okay, Aries. Might take me a second. I'm a little giddy
All right,
right
take
now.
all the time you need. We can't rush spirit. Shoot.
Nope, sure can't.
Sometimes I would like to, but you know, they're like, be quiet, Mark. I'm like, oh, okay.
Exactly. All right. All right. Let's see, Aries. What am I getting to, Aries? I have to do something because little do you guys know that when I do this, I have to take my shoes off.
Really? That's crazy.
Yeah,
Whatever works.
I can't do it with shoes on. So, I guess it helps me stay grounded. I guess I think that's what it is.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, Aries. Okay, I'm feeling a lot of anxiety, and I don't know if this is Aries energy or if this is because this just different way of doing the live feed.
I thought the same thing.
But it's definitely intense. I'm going to take my book off here because I'm shaking the tape.
Oh, you don't know how it's
I really get the sense there's like a lot of confusion around Aries right now. Mark, you're fine. Fine. A lot of confusion around Aries. I get the sense that they're not sure of their direction. Like they feel kind of not sure which direction they're heading in. I really get the sense that they're feeling lost for some reason. The lack of direction. I don't know. Maybe just like a heightened sense of like a heightened sense of anxiety, like he's feeling a little rambunctious, not knowing what to do with all this energy that they're feeling. I really don't feel like they're grounded. And so it's making them really confused. I think that's why I'm feeling all this energy. Because Spirit is showing me that they're like, taking, slow down, slow down. Is there any Aries here that can confirm that? Yes, yes, yes.
Aries moon. And yes.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Okay.
Yeah, and when you said that they're feeling rambunctious or they're feeling kind of up and down, I was shuffling and then the Two of Pentacles popped out reverse. So it makes a lot of sense, not feeling balanced, not feeling like they can handle things that are
Yeah.
thrown at them. For sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, with the Two of Pentacles, you see the guy standing on one foot, like he could just topple over any moment, you know? So yeah, I'm really feeling like that really intense, rambunctious, kind of not sure what to do with their energy type of feeling. But this is really due to, and what's causing this is the energies that are just taking place. It just seems like Aries are really sensitive to the energies that are taking place on the planet right now. All of these changes that are happening energetically are really affecting Aries. And I feel like, you know, that's why Spirit is just saying, you know, take a breath, slow down. You know, it's okay to put those pentacles down on the ground for now to take a break, because to think things through, because you're gonna fall off balance. That's how I feel. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I feel like there's like a newness coming in, like something new, something new coming in for Aries. And whatever this is,
King of
it's
Pentacles.
exciting. So whatever this is, it's exciting. Which is also probably where the anxiety is coming in too, because they're showing me like a little dog that's really, really excited and wagging its tail, and like that's how they're showing me Aries right now. So like it's something new coming in for Aries, and they're really excited about it. So it's a good thing. I'm not getting anything bad off of this. But I also feel like there's a heightened sense of insecurities with Aries lately too. I mean, Aries, don't go bipolar Aries. Like I feel like there's like different energies going on. Like one is like a heightened excitement over something good, and then another one is shoot, what did I just say? They were feeling. Well, Lester, it's gonna go in order. You guys, it's gonna go in order, because the next one after this is gonna be Taurus and then Gemini. I'm just doing it in order. Let me see. Dang, I lost it. What was I saying about Aries? I think it was you're welcome, Melissa. Wow, I lost it. Hold on. Yeah, but why did I say that? The bipolar. Hold on, let me see if I can get it back. Stephanie, I hope not.
No, don't say that. I hope not too.
Insecurity, that's what it was. I feel like Aries are feeling a sense of insecurity too. Like all these new things are coming at them, these new energies, and it's throwing them off balance. And I really feel like they're feeling a little insecure with this. They're not sure how to handle this. It's different. But like Spirit is saying, just relax into this. It's okay. Like, it's going to turn out okay. Enjoy the good moments. Enjoy that and just relax into it. And it's okay to slow down and take a break. I feel like you guys are like on, I mean, I'm talking so fast because Aries energy is like, oh, like I'm really like, you guys are getting me rowdy. Like, like, so just kind of like try to bring it down a little bit and relax in it. And you'll be okay. But that's kind of what I'm getting. Aries, did you lay out Aries? You laid it out already?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you can take the floor because that's all I'm getting for Aries right now.
Okay, it's funny when you said talking fast or kind of everything coming in really quick, because here we have the King of Swords, reverse. This is someone who comes in extremely berating, someone who comes in with uses their words as a way of cutting. So I want to say that this is here for that specific reason. And the reason why I feel like it's because it was clarified by the Three of Swords here and the Magician. And when I see these two cards here, I feel like this is a choice. These words and how they're going to communicate. What's the choice? Aries, are you going to do what's right, or you're going to do what's wrong? See, and it's crazy how these are both swords here, because this equals this energy. But the Magician also, someone who has everything in terms of all the equipment, in terms of every single element to manifest what he or she wants to manifest. So it's really, that's why I'm saying it's a choice and it's a decision. Because at the end of the day, what's clarifying this at the bottom, or the end result, we have the Death card reverse. So they could be dealing with a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius if they're in a relationship or something to that effect, or a Scorpio. But I feel like that's what I'm saying. It's a choice, because are they going to, transform? Are they going to move forward in life? Or are they going to continue to be stagnant? I feel. And also we have the High Priestess reverse here. Whenever the High Priestess comes up in any of, a reading I give or anywhere else within any type of reading that I do, the High Priestess, I always say, stop playing. You know what you need to do. And I always say that whenever I see it. So the High Priestess in reverse here is reminding you to use your intuition. You have to use it, because when you don't use your intuition, things like this happen where things go awry and things go to the left. And also trusting yourself, most importantly, I just picked that up. Trusting yourself is the most important thing here, because when you trust yourself and your own decisions, you then are confident in what you're going to do, and you're confident in the next decision. And also you come forward and you approach situations in a much calmer, more sensible manner. Because when you feel like you're not balanced, or you feel like you're up and down, anyone in general can, approach a situation with a lot of, how can I say it? A lot of anger, maybe, because it's confusion. Yeah. And then it's funny when you said new things coming in, because we have the Ace of Pentacles here, upright. So that's really good too. Here's a new offer. But what's the offer going to consist of, right? And what's the offer going to be based upon? This is the decision. And then the Six of Swords reverse, which for me is, maybe having to walk away from certain things that you necessarily don't want to walk away from, but you have to, because if the offer is going to be viable, then that's okay. Then you need to walk away from other situations that keep you down. We also have my last card here is the Moon card reverse. And it's crazy how the High Priestess and the Moon card they're both reversed here. Both of these cards, they can symbolize, secrets and information being withheld. So maybe Aries, you may kind of feel like there are some things in your life that you can't really talk about. But the Moon card reverse, for a lot of readers and for me, has to do with deception indicated. Now I feel like Aries maybe is coming to a point where, since the High Priestess is in reverse, it's someone who withholds information. So I feel like Aries, you may be catching yourself in terms of not realizing what you need, or maybe finally coming to the point to realize what it is that you need to move forward, and actually coming to this decision. I feel like that's really what it's about.
Yeah. And isn't the Moon card also, doesn't that also speak of intuition too?
It can, yeah. It speaks of Pisces and of the 12th house. So yes, also the subconscious. It's funny that you say that, because I mean, this is a subconscious thing as well. choosing and making this decision. What are you going to do? Maybe, you know, having to be forced to walk away from the subconscious, you know, with the Six of Swords here reversed. This is kind of maybe for me not really wanting to walk away, but what's surrounding it kind of feel like it's a need to walk away. You have to walk away. It's letting you know that it's a must right now to walk away from the situations that no longer serve you or that put you in this Three of Swords moment and that make you approach the situation with the King of Swords reversed as well.
And you know, for a fire sign, there's a lot of swords in that reading, which also reiterates what Spirit is saying by drop the ball, sit down and relax for a minute, because you're really exactly up in your head a lot.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow.
That's good.
Okay, so we ready to move on to the next one?
Let's do it.
All right, Taurus. Taurus. Oh, so Taurus. Sorry, I'm shaking my screen. I'm writing. Okay, Taurus. I feel like so far you've been doing okay. But don't put yourself in a position where you're going to be losing your partner's trust. The relationship is already dealing with its own issues. But don't lose your partner's trust because of these issues. That's kind of like pouring gasoline on a fire, you know? But moving on, I do see Taurus, whoever, like, and understand that this is only for the Taurus that this resonates with. If you're in an unhappy relationship and it's really at its end, then this is for you. I really feel like this is going to go a lot smoother than you anticipated going. Just don't ruffle feathers. I'm getting that. Don't ruffle any feathers. Stay level-headed, stay cool, stay calm, because this is also a very karmic cycle for you. So I feel like if you're ruffling any feathers, you're not creating any good karma for yourself. I'm seeing a white flag being waved. A white flag being waved, like a truce of surrender, like Jeanette, are you asking me what I mean about ruffling feathers? I mean, like, you know, like the saying, don't ruffle feathers, don't create waves, don't create issues or problems that are unnecessary. And if it's not you, sweetie, don't take that personally. Like I said, this is general love. This is going to affect many Taurus. Okay. And I feel like money is like a concern for Taurus right now too. Hang on. You know, and I'm also seeing some Taurus like really, I don't know, I feel like you're at a really low point for some Taurus. I really feel like this is a really depressing time for you. It's like I can see you sitting there with your hands in your face, just crying, you know? And I feel like this could be due to some form of an ending to something ending. And it could be a relationship, it could be a job, it could be loss of life. It could be any of that. It's an ending. And I really, hold on. Yeah, well, I feel like whatever this is could very easily take you out of your comfort zone, could very easily take you out of the square. And even though you may not be able to see the blessing in it right now, there is one. But I do feel like for a lot of Taurus too, that this is like a loss of finances. It's either financial or relationship, but I'm seeing struggling financially. Or it could be both at the same time, because it's like, it almost reminds me of a country song, you know what I mean? Like finances and girlfriend and wife, whatever, just everything. Just hitting you, I guess. I don't know. This is weird. Okay. I'm getting despair. It seems like the word despair, like however that pertains to you. That's the word I'm getting. So, I don't know. Like, am I hitting that right?
Yeah, I really believe so.
Okay. Because that's really not getting much else other than that. That's really what the main energy feels like. And
It's
I can
funny
only
that
go on and on about
it's funny that you say kind of despair, right? Because here
yeah.
we have the Ten of Wind or the Ten of Swords. So an
Oh
ending really
shit. That's
is
there
coming.
all day.
An ending is. And the Ten of Swords it's like a double-edged sword in a sense with this card because, it is rock bottom. You've hit the bottom. But now there's only one way to go up. I always say even when you're at the bottom, you can still look up and see where the top resides. Now this is a
Absolutely.
completion, so it's time to now get up and move forward. And that's an arduous task in itself as well. So that's why it's a double-edged sword. But we also have the brother of fire here too, which is like the Knight of Wands. And I feel like with the Knight of Wands here and with the Ten of Wind, clarifying the Nine of Cups. So when I look at this, I look at it like kind of Taurus is going to have to realize that, okay, they're at this point or they're at rock bottom right now, or if they feel like that's what's going on, they're going to have to be on a quest and a conquest on how to move forward, how to get up and apply positive creativity to their new ventures in life in terms of what they want to do and how they want to move forward. That's why I want to say, well, it's a brother or a knight or sister or page, the same thing. But I feel like with, the brother of fire here, it's the Knight of Wands. It's someone who has an optimistic outlook and who's actually on a quest to understand how they can apply their creativity and how they can actually apply their ideas to whatever they're trying to manifest. And when it's clarified, or the outcome is Temperance reverse. So Taurus could be maybe dealing with a Sagittarius, maybe possibly an Aquarius. But I think that's pretty much it. I just say that for the sake of the reading. But I feel like with Temperance here,
Well, that
clarifying.
makes sense to me personally. Yeah.
clarifying the 10 of wind and the brother of fire here, the end result is temperance reverse. So I kind of feel like, Taurus, this is going to be a learning experience for you in terms of making the best decisions that you can. And when you don't make the best decisions, you know, sometimes this is where we end up, the 10 of swords. We end up at the bottom like that. And at the top is the, like I said, the 9 of cups. Now, whenever I see, my own interpretation of the 9 of cups is happiness and fulfillment and satisfaction, but from yourself, giving it to yourself. When you get to the 10 of cups, that's with another person. That's including that other person or with, or whatever unit or, you know, other circumstance. In terms of outside stimuli or influence, I consider that the 10 of cups. When I see the 9, it's personal. So you're going to have to decide, Taurus, are you going to give yourself that? Do you feel like you deserve it? That's the most important part. Because if you feel like you deserve it, you're going to do everything that you can to not shatter it or to, you know, maintain the positivity of it. And what's also really interesting here too is, you know, we have this card here. It doesn't really have a name, but this is basically like a blank card. Out of this whole deck, this card is very special because this card, what it said, and this is the very first card that popped out, is we must look. And right now we don't understand why things are the way that they are, but we'll know in time. And that's what this card speaks of. You know, it speaks of what's going to happen in the future, but to not really stress about it. And also this card is also spiritual growth and spirituality and actually applying it. So this was the very first card that popped out because I feel like, you know, maybe with the spirituality or something to that effect, if you maybe, Taurus, don't feel like you have it or you don't feel like you're grounded, I mean, we end up having the brother of earth here reversed or the knight of pentacles. Or we also have the 7 of wands here. Yeah, sorry. 7 of wands here reversed as well. So, you know, the 7 of wands reversed, it speaks of pretty much giving up. It's not wanting to move forward. It's just saying, I'm just going to quit, you know. And when you feel, Taurus, like you feel like you want to quit, you know, that's when you feel like, you know, you can't continue on. And with the Knight of Pentacles reversed, that's a very stubborn energy as well. That's an energy who does things on his own time and doesn't take anyone else into consideration. But I feel like this is more you. That's why I'm asking you, Taurus, do you believe that you deserve it? Are you taking your own time? Are you purposely, you know, being negligent and moving forward? And since when, Taurus, do you ever give up? That's what's strange here is Taurus never gives up. They're a fixed sign. You know, so Taurus never gives up, so headstrong. But why do we feel like that? And the final last card clarifying it or as the outcome is the Star card reversed. It's a lack of, you know, of hope. It's a lack of faith. It's not having it, which I understand. But it's funny how this card is at the top and then this is the outcome. You know, you have to have that spiritual faith and to understand that things are happening right now, but we'll understand it at the end. Right? That's what the card signifies. And it's because maybe, Taurus, you are not maybe wanting to be vulnerable, you know, and security, I always say in every one of my Taurus readings, security is the most important part to a Taurus. If they don't feel like they're secure, they are out of there and they just don't want to deal with it. Anyone in general is like that, but Taurus it's that much more important to them. It's at the fore. That's the most important thing for Taurus. So when they feel like they want to give up and they feel like they can't move on and continue for themselves, this is Taurus's energy right here. You know, this is earth energy. When they feel like they can't continue to move forward, they feel like they want to give up and they want to just jet and leave. So I feel like, you know, that's something that maybe Taurus needs to work on. And I feel like they need to maybe get in touch more with their spirituality and they need to just trust the process. Even though, I mean, it's easier said than done, most definitely. But, you know, we must, I don't know, I just picked up right now, ambition can be extremely debilitating. And I'm not sure why I picked that up, but it's true, I feel. You know, sometimes we're so focused on what we want to do and how we want to achieve it, we really don't see the 10 of Swords kind of coming. You know, we don't realize, because we have tunnel vision sometimes and we only see what's in front of us and we're not seeing what's going on around us in our environment. So I feel like that's what it is. Or that's kind of maybe what's going on right now. Get in touch with your spirituality, Taurus. Trust the process you know, and you should be okay. It's gonna, and like this card says, it's gonna come in time. You understand it at the end, and that's specifically what this card is, and this is the very, very first card that popped out.
That card right there is really standing out to me because, one, I really feel like this is a karmic cycle.
Oh, yeah.
And even though that card is a blank card, you can see that wheel. And I feel like in the different layers of the wheel are different cycles that you go through, you know, but the wheel is constantly turning, just like the wheel of fortune, the end of a cycle, the beginning of a new cycle, you know. And so this is definitely,
and even light, see how light's coming out from the center, and it's shining on everything. And look, the moon's there, which is your emotions and what you need and what you require, you know. You understand it all the way at the end.
And the dark around the card is that despair. You really have light in there, you know.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. All right. Jiggy Jiggy Gemini. Okay.
Yay, Geminis.
Yeah, what do you say? How are you two doing?
I always say, how are you two doing today? I mean, it's a little bit of shade, but not really though. Like, it's true. Like, you know, I mean, well, Gemini, my general reading for Gemini this month was the evil twin emerging. So Gemini's evil twin may be emerging this month. So yeah, I mean, how are you two doing today?
Yeah, so funny. All right. Well, I hope it's not emerging. That would be not good.
There, you're right.
So let me see. Sorry, I got something in my eye, guys. Let me see what's going on. I think Geminis are very unsure right now. I feel like they're feeling like the Two of Pentacles. The same as like the Aries, just a little unstable, not sure what to expect. What is I feel like on the outside they're trying to appear as if everything is good and everything is cool and calm, but on the inside it's not. It's just like chaos going on, in like inner chaos going on inside, but the outer appearance seems okay. But I really don't feel like it's going to take much for them to snap. I don't feel like it's going to take much for them to pop off. I really feel like I feel like the stress level is a little intense right now. I feel like when you're busy, you're really busy, but you're focused. Like, it's almost like you're multitasking. It's like one of your twins are working while the other twin is thinking, you know? Two totally different things going on at the same time. And I feel like their energy's all over the place. I really feel like that's going to be the theme for everybody, and I think that has a lot to do with all these energies that are coming in, the new energies that people have to try to get used to.
Oh, wow.
I still feel like this is an emotional time for Gemini. I really feel like they're trying to keep their emotions under wraps, like they're trying to keep a handle on their emotions. But I really feel like they could break. You know, it's so funny. You know, I'm getting you know, when somebody starts going crazy, you know, and they got that like crazy laugh like that. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but
yeah,
like when somebody starts in mind, you know, yeah, like crazy. I mean, feel like it's like
crazy, so
they're kind of edgy right now, and they're trying to like laugh, but with the like one of those tense can't help it kind of laugh. I don't know how to explain it, but it's weird. They're not going crazy. I just feel like they're so confused in their own thoughts. Like they don't know if they're coming or going or what's up or down, and just it's driving them nuts. I think I get the sense too that some Geminis are feeling like they should be pampered for all the work that they do. It's not how that works, but like I'm not saying that it's not deserved, but you can't expect that. I feel like your expectations are just really unreasonable. I don't know. I feel like it's good to want recognition, but to demand it is not. Because if you're not getting it, then you're just shutting everybody out. And I feel like you're just kind of edgy, like. And I'm also hearing water. So this could be needing to drink more water, or a water sign could be creating this, but I'm hearing water. So something significant to that. So it could be like a Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces that's affecting your emotions. And it could be that you're emotional with the, with water. Water has a lot of different. So that's kind of what I'm getting for Gemini.
Okay, interesting. The Ten of Swords popped out here for Gemini. I feel like it's another one of those, I'm gonna call it a story, but another one of those issues where, we hit rock bottom. And I feel like it's because maybe Gemini, like, maybe you've made certain decisions, that weren't maybe necessarily the best decision, or it wasn't the best way to approach the decision, I feel. And kind of being stuck between a rock and a hard place and having to possibly maybe deal with the repercussions of your decisions. Now, we also have as the outcome for this particular little 4-card spread, we have the Ace of Wands reverse. This can speak of the beginning or the approach of a venture or of a situation didn't necessarily, it wasn't done maybe or started for the right reasons. And also the approach was just completely off. And whenever I see the Ace of Wands reversed, my first inclination is to think like, okay, what were your intentions when you first started whatever it is that you were trying to do? What was in your mind? What was, what was that? Why did you start it? What was the point of it? And I feel like with the Strength card here and with the Ten of Swords here, I feel like these two cards here is reminding Gemini, what happens when we're maybe a little bit too ambitious? Or what happens when we feel like, I'm going to say this, but like we're the shit. I hate to say that and I hate to curse, but I feel like that's kind of maybe what this means to me. And what ends up happening is that we don't see the latent consequences of our actions. We don't see what's going to happen in the future. And especially when it doesn't start off correctly. And when we have, I don't say non-benign intentions, where maybe there's a plan or maybe there's, an idea as to what they want to do. And when I'm saying the idea, I mean in like a negative sense or in a sense where they're trying to maybe get over, or there's a thought process that goes into it to trample over other people. But Gemini, I mean, I must ask, you know, how did it go for you? These two cards here are complete opposite. They are exactly the antithesis of each other. Strength does not equal this, but strength will come after this. So we must realize that you're going to build strength again, Gemini, but you're going to have to go through this process of, you know, making the conscious decision to start things that maybe weren't so great. I feel like it's another bit of a karmic cycle. I mean, given the eclipse and everything, everyone is kind of going through these cycles right now, and especially my generals for September. I mean, so many major arcana in every single recording, and I had a little bit of a tough time kind of reading, especially when there's so many major arcana. You know, like Temperance, like the High Priestess, those suits, those set of cards. It's a little difficult to read like that sometimes, because you kind of don't really know what's going on, because, you know, the Ace through 10, those are our outside stimuli, our outside influences that come in and they infiltrate, you know, the environment. So then you can kind of see what's going on from the outside and you can kind of conclude what's going on a little bit. But when you have major arcana, that's more of what's going on with you as an individual. So it's kind of tough to see what's kind of going on a little bit. So, but I noticed that I think I made you like a checkup video or something, or like an overall of all the signs at the end of the month, just to kind of clarify that, because it's crazy. But also, Gemini, the 7 of Wands here as well. You see, why are you fighting? I mean, okay, this is a good card. It just means that you're standing up for what you want, and you're standing up for, you know, you're fighting for a cause. But how did the cause start? What was the cause? Are you fighting a little bit too hard for maybe a cause that was a little, you know, not so great in terms of thought and the beginning approach of it, I feel. But the 7 of Wands is clarified by the Queen of Wands and then the Knight of Pentacles. So I feel like now you're maybe, Gemini, you're gonna fight, but you may be fighting for a new offer, maybe, in terms of now you're going to maybe see and be on the receiving end of things when you realize what decisions you've made. And when you are, that's going to force you to take a look at what are you creating and what are you doing. The Queen here, it can be a man as well, just someone who embodies this trait. And this is a fire trait. Like, you know, it's especially the Queen. She keeps the environment and maintains the environment. She does it, whatever the suit may be, whether it's cups, whether it's pentacles, whether it's wands, she's the maintainer of that type of environment. So the creation, what are you maintaining now? I feel like you're going to now see, because you're, like I said, you're going to be on the receiving end of now your decisions that you've made, right? Now they're going to put you between a rock and a hard place. But now you're going to see how other people feel when you're behind, you know, when someone is behind it. And I feel like now you're going to be on a quest to understand what do you offer and how do you offer things and what's the energy behind it. And I feel like it's in a positive sense. And then what's the end result or the outcome of all of those cards is the Hangman here. And I feel like the Hangman here is someone who hangs around. They observe and they need to make certain decisions, but this is stagnation as well. So Gemini, don't hesitate and have stagnation be there or be prominent when you have this type of these type of lessons to learn. Let's not do that, you know, because then we're fighting for the wrong thing. But then, like I said, let's go back to what's the intention? What are you doing? What's the reason? And the reason why I say that too, because the bottom of the deck, Ace of Swords reversed, and this can speak of secrets and this can speak of deception, because the beginning, the start, look, both your aces, Gemini, are both reversed. What are your intent? Okay, what are your intentions? What are you thinking in terms of getting over maybe on other people? And how are you doing it? How are you approaching it? And how is the communication beginning? You know, and then followed by Sun reversed. This is how you're going to end up feeling if you continue this cycle of just negativity, I want to call it, followed by the Hermit. This is what we need to do, Gemini. We need to embody the Virgo trait. We need to gain some spirituality. We need to understand why we do the things that we do. What's the root of it? What's the cause of it? Why are we doing it? This is what, you know, the Hermit, I'm just saying Virgo for the sake of it, but yeah, maybe Gemini, you could be dealing with a Leo, and also maybe yeah, Leo specifically, or maybe possibly an Aries. But yeah, what are we doing? This is someone who gains introspection. This is also someone, the lantern there. This card doesn't really, you know, show it explicitly, but the lantern it's very spiritual. This lantern right here, it's from the stars, and it's from up in, you know, up in the heavens and up in space. It's the light. This is gaining the introspection, and he's carrying it with him because he walks into the cave where it's dark. You can't see, but he exits with the light. He exits with the wisdom, but you have to go in there with an open mind and being optimistic. And I feel like that's basically the general message for Gemini, just to be careful, to remember that, you know, the beginning of things is very important, but what are your intentions and how are you communicating it? Because eventually, Gemini, I feel like people are going to catch on to maybe some of your slick ways, and then you're going to be back at the beginning, you know, in terms of now you're back at the beginning in terms of how do we approach the situation now? I think that's all I'm getting for Gemini right now.
Okay. Okay, now Cancer, right? Is Cancer next?
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't have my list. I usually have a list in front of me. Write it down, but okay, Cancer. What am I getting for you, Cancer? Y'all got attitudes? Like, what the hell? I feel like Cancer has like a chip on their shoulder.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like, yeah. Okay, because as soon as I said, okay, what's going on with you, Cancer, I immediately saw, get out of here. Like,
Yeah, it's like, shh.
I just got chewed away. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Hi, Cancer, Cancer, Cancer.
Okay, Cancer has a chip on their shoulder. I don't feel like I'm getting bitterness. Like I'm seeing like the person that I'm seeing wave somebody off by their appearance, they seem bitter. So this is why I'm saying I'm feeling like there's a bitterness coming off, and I just feel like it's kind of not that serious. It's just you're not finding people to agree with you. Like people are not agreeing with you or the things you're doing or your ideas and stuff like that. And so you feel like, well, if you're not going to be on my side, then get out of here. I have nothing to say. And I really feel like, well, that's definitely not going to serve you well. But I feel like where it's at right now, it hasn't always been that way, not to this extent. And so I feel like it kind of reminded me of the Scrooge, like from the movie. But this is also just a phase. This is going to pass. Mm-hmm. I feel like there's a lot of karmic lessons that are taking place right now, and you're resisting the lesson. Mm-hmm. Like you're resisting learning the lesson. So it's getting you really attitudey, like really, like you're resisting it with everything you have. And anybody who's going to come at you, that's going to teach you your lesson in some way, shape, or form, energetically, you have to remember that this is any situation can be a lesson, you know. So it's not like punishment, you know, but I just feel like if the situation feels uncomfortable, but you could learn something from it, you're still pushing it away. You don't want to deal with it. You want to stay in that little comfort zone that you like to be in, but you're kind of being pulled out of it and you're not happy about it. And you don't want to deal with people that are not going to allow you to stay in that comfort zone. They're kind of pulling you out and you're resisting and you're pissed. You're like, I'm seeing angry, like really angry by this. And, you know, even spirit is like, they're kind of shaking their head, but at the same time, they're just looking at it like, it's gonna pass. This is just a phase. You can only resist change for so long. Once you tire out from the constant pushing people away, and you're feeling angry, and feeling like, you know, pouty. I'm getting like you're not getting your way, it just reminds me of a kid just sitting there pouting. You know, you ever hear that saying, nobody likes me, everybody hates me, I'm going to eat some worms? That's what I'm hearing. Like, that's what it feels like to me. Like, it's really not necessary to take it to the level.
Like, it's not that serious, bro.
It's not that serious, and I don't want to sound insulting at all when I say it's very immature the way that the way that it's being handled, because it's the emotions are being handled the way a child who doesn't know how to manipulate their own emotions yet. It's like they're chaotic. Like the emotions are just not stable. They're not grounded. It's just it's nonsense is what it seems like.
It's so, like self-righteous behavior a little bit. Like, you owe me this, and it's kind of like, no. Yeah.
It is, and it's just a very childish way in presenting it. It's really pouty, you know, like really, I'm not getting my way, I'm not happy about it, and since you're not going to give me my way, stay away from me. If you're not going to listen to what I have to say and give me my way, stay away from me. If you're not going to stay away from me, then we're going to duke this out, and that's it. Like, I just really feel like that's what's going on. Like, they're not bending. They don't want to bend in what, it's almost like they want to stand their ground because they feel like they're not being heard. But it's not that they're not being heard. It's what they're requesting and asking for. It's just ludicrous, it seems. Like, that's what I'm getting off of that. So I feel like it's just a bit much. So, dang, Cancer. Oh my God.
Yeah, I just picked up right now when you said that they're not being heard. I kind of picked up right now. Spirit's funny, you know, especially how they work with me. They're like, Spirit's very you know, Kim. They're very they're a little smart with me. Extremely. Yeah. I'm like that too. So, you know, like they Spirit works with us the way that we work with other people, so they can shut us up, right, when they need to.
Yeah, people need to understand that just because they're in the spirit realm and they're of like angelic essence does not mean they don't have a smart mouth. They do.
Yes,
they do.
And I can attest to that one, because it's funny, because when you said that that they're not getting, that they're not being heard, and Spirit said, well, because they're not talking loud enough. That's why. I was like, ooh, wow. Okay. Right. that's what they they're I laugh at it, but then sometimes they even do that with me too. Like, you know, like I'll just be like, oh, like, Spirit, I can't do this Spirit right now, I'm super tired. And then they'll say something like, well, who has a YouTube channel? I'm like, oh, well, okay. Yeah, I'm like, okay, so back to you, Cancer. But what I'm getting, were you done, Kim? Did you pick it up?
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
So what I got for Cancer, we have the Six of Wands here. Hey, this is a great card. It really is. It's a card of celebration. It's a card of feeling great about yourself. It's a card of people understanding you, but most importantly, you understand yourself. So then you radiate that confidence, and then people then feel that off of you, and then they give you back what it is that they're giving back. But once again, this is crazy. 3 different decks, and we got the Seven of Wands here, reverse. So how is it that you're feeling proud, Cancer, right? But then you want to give up. This is not the card of giving up. This is a card of striving and then coming to, you know, to a halt or coming to a culmination. And then, you know, this was a card of actually how you got there, but why are you giving up? Now, clarifying the Six of Wands here, we have the Magician reverse. And we also have the Two of Swords. You could maybe be dealing with a Libra, possibly. That's the Two of Swords is representative of Libra. But what are we doing? What are we manifesting? The Magician reverse, it can go either way. The Magician reverse can speak of either, you know, you don't have all the tools necessary to move forward, or the Magician reverse can also mean that maybe you're being a little bit of a trickster. You're trying to kind of get over on people or trying to manifest something that maybe you can't handle. You know, that's a big one. And what happens, Cancer, you know, when you come to a point where you can't move forward, to a point where you come to an impasse? What was all of this work for? You know, that's what I'm kind of feeling like, Cancer. Like, what are you doing? Now, I mean, it also does depend what's in everyone's chart, you know. But Cancer, you know, you're a water sign. Whether it's moon, rising, or sun, or Venus, you know. Cancer, you have to be careful because you can't embody too much or too many of the fiery traits or the sword traits, especially the sword's reverse. Because when the backlash comes back at you, don't cry about it, you know, when it happens, or when you get that feedback that's maybe negative. And maybe, you know, when you feel like you're possibly trapped. And I feel, Cancer, like with justice here as well, so really you could really possibly maybe be dealing with a Libra. I feel, Cancer, it's like, what's fair? Who got what? You know, is it fair that you feel trapped? But are you doing this to yourself, though? Because in the Rider-Waite Tarot, you know, the Eight of Swords, she has a blindfold on. And even here, too, if you look at the card, see the swords are blinding this woman's eyes or man's eyes. But yeah, so you have two cards that involve blinding or blindfolds that you have on. What are you not seeing? What are you failing to see? Denise, we're doing Pisces at the very end. We're on Cancer right now. So these two cards, like I was saying, they both have, you have blindfolds on, especially this one right here. Like I said, you could see that there's a blind, you know, blindfolds are right there. But in the traditional Rider-Waite deck, this woman has a blindfold on too. So whenever you see blindfolds in tarot cards, it's because they choose to not see. They're choosing to ignore what's going on. So what are you ignoring? Why are you coming to an impasse? Because you're trapping yourself in a sense, you know? But I feel, Cancer, like, you know, and look, we even have Libra here, like I was saying before, with justice. What's fair? Is it fair that you're doing this to yourself, Cancer? You know? And I also feel at the top and the bottom, we got the Queen of Cups and the King of Cups. That was very interesting, I found out, because this is who you are, Cancer. This is what you embody. You not only add to your environment of emotional stability and emotional fulfillment and happiness, but you also maintain it within your environment. So doing stuff like this, Cancer, you know, this isn't going to bring that result to you. This is only going to lead to you feeling even stuck even further. But Cancer, you're doing this to yourself because these two cards are very self cards. These two cards are choices. This is a choice to be stuck, or this is a choice to not see. So when I see things like this, it's because you're doing it to yourself. It's, you know, how can I say it? You're supplementing the process, basically. And unfortunately, that's what's kind of going on. But until you realize that, until you see it, Cancer, when you get this back, right? When you get this kind of type of energy back, King of Cups and Queen of Cups, when I feel like you get your environment right and also your personal environment correct, I feel like, look at the bottom of the deck, the Ten of Cups. But you're good. there's a way to reach this, but you're not going to reach it as to how what you're doing as of now. You know, and also I'm picking up too here, this is a false representation of who you are. This is how do I say it? This is false beliefs. Also maybe self-fulfilling prophecies. You know, you think that you're feeling proud and you think that what you're doing right now is serving you, but you're not, but not really, because you want to give up inside, but you don't want to show that. So it's not really serving you, I feel. Yeah, I think that's all I'm getting for Cancer. Be good, Cancer.
Yeah, and that makes sense. Yeah, and that makes sense too with that that really pouty feeling, not getting their way. They feel like they deserve to have their way. Then if you're not going to listen to them, they don't want to hear anything you have to say. And that's where they're at right now. They're feeling entitled, for sure. For sure. Yeah, get that. Okay. So now Leo. Well, I'm hearing the word settle. So I'm not sure if it's going to settle down, like you're feeling settled. I really feel a settling feeling with Leo. But give me a second, because this one is coming in a little slow. I'm getting settled. Or settling for a situation. Like, just like, okay, whatever, this is it. Like, I'll settle for this. You know, that kind of energy. Like, you're settling for something. Not really to care less either way, you know? Just somewhere that you can sit put. Somewhere that you can just put your energy and not have to worry about it. Like, this is it. I'm just going to settle for this. Not necessarily really happy about it, but it is what it is. It could be settling for a relationship that really does not bring you contentment. Like, I feel like you're just settling there. Like, you don't want to budge. Like, you want to. I feel like you're resisting change. Like anything that could. But I feel like you're feeling optimistic in this too. Like, I really feel like there's a sense of optimism. Like, that's, but you feel optimistic. Like, things are just kind of mediocre. Like, you know. Leo. You know, I also get the sense that you're kind of like in a playful mood. I mean, things are not necessarily going the way you exactly pictured them going, but I feel like you're trying to stay playful in the meantime. I do feel like you have a lot of worry, but I feel like your outwardness is kind of playful. And Spirit is giving the okay for where you are at right now, because I feel like it's temporary. I don't feel like you're going to stay in that. I feel like the way you're like not taking things too seriously is a good place to be right now. Because as long as you're not taking things seriously, you're not lowering your vibration. You may be settling into what you are in, but you're not making a really big deal about it. It could be better, but you're not making a big fuss. So I feel like that's just because of the different energies that are here right now, everything that's been going on with shit stuff. I feel like that's a really smart place to be right now. It's a very intelligent place to be right now. It's just feeling like whatever. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like that's what I'm getting from you. Like, yeah, whatever. Like you just don't care. But yeah, weird. It's a good place. It's not terrible, but just kind of sitting comfortable in your mediocreness. If that makes sense.
It does.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Normally I'm not the one that says to choose complacency, but maybe sometimes we need to, you know, sometimes we have to just take that break or that step and just kind of, it's not the right time to move forward right now. You know, I mean,
Yeah,
that tends to happen.
Yeah. And I think because of the complacency, you're not lowering your vibration. You may not be raising it, but you're not lowering it. And that's what the key is here. And I think that's why Spirit is like, okay, fine, stay right there, stay put. If that's what you feel right now, as long as you're not lowering it, you're good. Like you're safe. So mediocre is okay right now. Complacency is okay right now, if that's what the way you feel. But yeah, what does your card say? I'm really curious.
So what I got here, the High Priestess reverse. And I also got clarifying it with the Lovers reverse and the Eight of Cups reverse. So when I see this, it kind of, it's saying like, you maybe feel, Leo, like you kind of put a lot of work into a situation or into a circumstance. And I feel like a little bit maybe like, not like you're stuck, but like you said, Kim, kind of just staying in that position right now. Maybe you don't really want to walk away from it, but I feel, Leo, like you maybe have realized what people's motives are and kind of what they want out of you. And with the High Priestess reverse, you know, it's kind of like information being withheld, you know, and it's, but information in the sense of we find out at the end. And I feel, Leo, like it's making you feel like the Knight of Cups reverse. We're almost like, okay, I rescind that. Spirit just told me this isn't them. This is their environment, because this is people who come in very manipulative, and people who come in to, they come in with the motive and they come in with the intention to take, but also to manipulate the emotions of someone, you know? And I feel like that's maybe why the Lovers is reversed here. If you are in a relationship, possibly maybe with a Gemini, but this card can also mean not being able to make a decision, you know, also back to the stagnation, like you were saying. And I feel like with the Eight of Cups reverse, it's kind of like you really, you're on, you feel like you're kind of, you're in, it's a little bit of indecisive energy. Like you want to walk away, but then you kind of don't. You feel like you do and you should, but then you kind of just like, oh, well, I don't really know. And I feel like I'm getting that stagnation, like you said too, like just kind of complacency. But this is what happens, Leo, when we rush things, they're saying. When we rush things and we don't understand. Okay, when we don't understand what we do in terms of, okay, thank you. We don't slow down enough to see the red flags or to understand what's going on at the beginning of whatever that's going on for you. And also, if you feel, they want me to say, Leo, if you feel like this type of energy and at the beginning of the relationship or the beginning of the circumstance, it's probably, you know, a good idea to maybe either pull out or to maybe just not involve yourself any further, I feel. Because then we have the Seven of Cups. You know, this can speak of desires, you know, and of also, you know, making certain decisions. But, you know, the thing about the Seven of Cups is there's a little bit of, they call it the card, it's called the illusion of success, because you may think that you're successful in your dealings, what you're doing, but you have decisions to make. But in each, I'm trying to get like a, you know, a close up, but in each cup, you know, there's a good and a bad. You know, which one are you have to choose the correct cup, you know, so that you don't end up feeling like this. But sometimes we don't see it. And that's what I'm saying, to slow down sometimes. And also the Seven of Cups can kind of speak of desires, you know, because there's so many choices, or there's so many different decisions where you desire maybe something more than you really need. And I feel like when I say desire, because the Seven of Cups is clarifying by the Three of Swords and then by the Hermit, you know, so once again, which one are you going to pick? Are you going to pick, you know, what you need and what's best for you and for the situation, or are you going to pick what you desire? Because yeah, what you desire may be okay and it may work, but eventually when we pick the things that we really desire over the things that we need, we end up feeling like this, because things that we desire, I'm not saying that everything that we desire is a bad thing, but the things that we do desire, they always run its course. And then at the end, it's not something of substance, you know, and then you're back at this point of contemplation. You're back at that point of kind of thinking like, okay, what do I do now? When honestly, your desires may have just been a waste of time. If you would have just made the correct decision, you wouldn't be back here, you know? But when you make the wrong decision and then you end up heartbroken or sad, I mean, look, see, she's crying, like, and then love, it could be love, it could be any situation, since this is general, but then you're back to square one. So don't take, you know, don't take 3 steps forward to be pushed back 5 steps. Like, that just doesn't make, that's counterproductive, you know? And then at the end of the Eight of Swords reverse, it's a decision. Once again, like, which one do you want to pick? And based upon which one you want to pick, and I feel like, Leo, now you're coming to the point where you maybe are starting to make the right decisions now, and you're starting to see the illusion and the delusion in maybe choosing some of your desires. And then when we make the correct decision, you know, and we choose the Hermit's energy over the Three of Swords, that's when maybe, you know, we'll come out of a period of not feeling no longer stuck. Once again, it's crazy how like these cards, and I'm using four different decks here, how like the same cards popping out for a lot of signs. Not feeling trapped, Leo. Like, you know what I mean? But like I said, once again, this is a decision. This is a choice to stay like this. Yeah, circumstances are tough, and we all have our own circumstances. But staying trapped and staying in that space, I mean, I always say, you know, you either win or you learn. You know, you never lose. I mean, unless you're in jail, that's a whole other different reading. But, you know, like at that point, but, you know, this is a choice. Are you choosing to stay stuck? But I feel like you're going to come out of this period, since it is reverse, you know, because you're going to start to choose the Hermit energy. Is that it? Yeah, I think that's all I'm getting right there. Kim, don't laugh. It's true though, you know. You know, I mean, hey, you either win or you learn. But you know, if you're in jail, you're like, damn, like, you know, it's all, I chose the wrong desire. These things happen, okay? It's happened to the best of us.
Oh my God.
I have an Aries moon. I know I pop off sometimes, so I get it.
That's funny as shit. Okay. All right. Virgo. Virgo. Biggity Virgo.
Hi, Virgo. Virgo.
Okay, this is weird. It's like, I can hear horns. Like, like, I can hear this. So, I feel like that's more like spirit trying to get their attention up, but they're also showing me, and now I understand the horn. They're showing me the judgment card. So I feel like there's a call to action. Something that Virgo needs to take action, step up to. Be interesting to get the part. I'm definitely getting like action. feel like Virgos got kind of like a short break. Like there was a moment where they had to take time for themselves. Now you're being called back out because you need to be out helping. Like that's what Virgos do. They're constantly helping people, constantly helping people. And I feel like that inner break is over. Spirit is like blowing the horn saying, come on, let's go. It's time to move. Like you gotta get out and start help them. Like it's kind of like picking them up, shaking them, moving them. Pick another one up, shake them, move them. Like kind of like shake people up. This is what's going on around you. So like no more playing games. Like it's like trying to get other people to focus on what's going on around them. And I feel like Virgos are being called to do that. Because they're already the type of people to help other people. And Spirit is saying that, you know, you're going to get your time, Virgo. You're going to get your time. They're saying good deeds, good works, like it's being recognized. There's going to be some type of reward or some type of fulfillment in the end. It is being recognized. The work that you do is absolutely being recognized. So, I just feel like whatever's going on with Virgo right now, it's Spirit, as long as Virgo is staying focused, you know, being taken up out of this slumber, then Spirit is totally behind you, totally to that. Definitely a call to action, definitely very action-filled time. I'm seeing a lot of action, so I wouldn't be surprised if there was a lot of wands getting high activity for Virgo. It feels like high activity, but you're being called. Spirit is actually like saying, "Okay, it's time to go, time to work." Like I'm seeing like soldiers being, you know, sending out into the field. Come on, let's go, go, go! Like that's what Spirit's doing, like sending all your soldiers out.
Right.
That's what it's. That's what it feels like. But you're definitely. This is a call from Spirit. They're telling you to move. It's time. Now's the time to move. But there'll be some type of reward in the end. So, what are you getting over there? And back to you.
Right. So go. Let's see. It's funny that you say that there's a lot of wands.
Mm.
4. And
There's a lot. How many cards lay down there?
we have 8. So half of the cards are is fire energy. Let's see.
Huh.
All right. I know. I'm like, wow. Okay, Virgo. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So Virgo. Okay. When I say we, because guys, I'm a Virgo sun. We have negative thoughts. This seems like to be just the recurring theme with Virgo. It's the thought process, you know, and I think it's because, you know, as Virgos, we're very critical of ourselves. And sometimes we fail to just take a step back and to just say, like, look how far you've come. And that also has to do with setting the bar too high. But there's 2 sides to that, you know, because one, when you set the bar too high, maybe you set it maybe a little bit too high, so it's kind of like you can't reach it. So it's kind of you know you can't reach it. So it's kind of like setting yourself up for failure a little bit, but at the same time, it's a good thing because then that means that you expect more out of yourself or other people. So then that means that you progress and you only get better as time goes on. But what ends up happening is that when we set the bar too high and we know we can't reach it, we end up then doubting ourselves, and we end up then kind of setting up self-fulfilling prophecies for ourselves. And, you know, it's counterproductive. And I feel here like, okay, we have the Knight of Wands reversed. You know, this is someone who comes in and maybe uses their power kind of over other people, and who maybe is searching for ways to, I don't know, okay, well, Spirit just told me using ways in terms of maybe finding shortcuts, not doing things the proper way. I don't know why I just picked that up, that's strange. And then we have the Six of Swords reversed here, and we also have the Five of Pentacles. In every reading, Virgo always gets like the Five of Pentacles, like, or the Five of Cups right at the end. It's crazy. I feel like when I see the Six of Swords here and the Five of Pentacles reversed, you know, you're gonna have to walk away. Let me move a little like this. You're gonna have to walk away from the things that keep you down. And we also have the Four of Cups here as well. The reason, okay, all right. Spirit saying the reason why we need to walk away from the things that keep us down is because when we don't do that, we end up missing opportunities, and we end up missing the opportunities that come with that is placing ourselves at the right place at the right time. So I feel like that's important here. And it's because maybe sometimes we're rushing, or we feel like we need to do things with this in a certain amount of time. Okay, it's telling me it's a time frame. We need to cut the time frame, or cut out the idea of a time frame. I think people are having issues with the feed here. Let's see, but it's still recording. I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, because we still post and they can go back.
Yeah,
so.
we can see. Okay, so we have the Three of Fire reversed here, or the Three of Wands reversed. So maybe Virgo, you know, maybe you made a decision that maybe necessarily you aren't really proud of, or maybe you're not seeing your ships coming in. Let's just put it that way. You know, you're not seeing results coming in. But Spirit's telling me there are, remember back to how sarcastic they are. They said there are results, but just not the results that you want and you expect. That's why you need to lower your bar, bro. I was like, oh, well. Okay. That's why they say, okay, they're funny. I'm seeing a guy jumping up trying to catch the bar. And he's saying that's why the bar is too damn high. Like they're saying, like it's saying, results are coming in, but your bar is too high where you can't reach it. And I feel like once again with the Ace of Wands here too, this is a new idea. This is a fresh idea, and coming up with plans and coming up with the beginning stages of creation, right? But the Seven of see, look, here's the Seven of Wands again, reversed. But when these new ideas come up and you maybe don't see results from them, maybe fast enough or to your expectation, you can't just give up on it, you know? And then, you know, the Lover's card right at the end, but I feel like this is more of you as an individual, you know, Virgo. I feel like this is more of, look, see, I mean, even though it is a man and a woman, but I feel like this is a joint, you know, a joint venture, or a joining, an amalgam, you know, of your physical body and your spiritual body. You know, yep. It's the joining of it, and you have to be humble, and you have to, you know that this takes work. But you can't give up, you know? You can't give up or give in when things don't go so right. And that's why they told me, lower your bar, bro, because it's a little bit too high. You can't even reach it. And then they just said, if you can't reach it, how did you get it up there?
Yeah. But I also feel like that when you start understanding that, you know, understanding how it works and just relaxing into it, I also feel like it's your relaxation, the lessening of the anxiety is the key to that bar lowering down. Because I don't feel like you can jump up and get that bar. I feel like that bar has to come down, and by bringing it down, bring down the anxiety. That'll lower that bar. That's how I feel.
Yeah, that's why I laughed, because they were funny. They were like, We were like, well, the reason why you can't reach that bar, is because you can't reach it. And then they were like, well, how the hell did you get it up that high anyway? If you can't even get
Yeah.
it, if you can't even get it down. I was like, oh, yeah. I was like, I used the ladder. They're like, well, where's the ladder?
Yeah, I think the bar representative of your anxiety. I think that's the
Oh, yeah.
symbolic. Yeah, absolutely. So, sweet.
Okay, we'll take a little break, and we'll come back and finish them up.
All right, so let me try to tune into Libra's energy really quick and see what we get.
Alrighty.
It's so funny. It's like as soon as I say that, I can feel the energy coming in. I'm like, yes.
Right?
So,
Me too, I know. Like, my
You're like,
spirit
oh,
guides are like standing behind me. I'm like, hey, what's up?
yeah, high five.
I'm like, yeah.
Okay, hold on. I feel like Libras are a lot more relaxed now, especially since the last reading. I feel like they're coming into a more comfortable place. Like, things are still a little chaotic around them, but they're just, I felt really relaxed saying it. Those legs. I just feel like they're a lot more relaxed now than they were. And just with allowing things to happen as they happen. Like, instead of trying to force things to happen, instead of trying to force certain outcomes or situations to go in a different direction. And I really feel like it's due to just being fed up. They just don't want to do it anymore. And so they're like, okay, Jesus, take the wheel. Like, I just don't want to do it anymore, And so I feel like they're just going to relax and see how things go. And if things keep coming at them, they're just really like, like, okay, whatever. Like, I'm not, that be you, Mike? Is connection still good?
From my end, it's pretty good. Yeah, I know this is going to resonate with me. I'm a Libra ascendant, so I know it's going to resonate.
Okay. Yeah, right. All right, what else am I getting for you, Libra?
Thank you, Michael.
I'm hearing expected change. Expected. There's definitely a change coming, and they're saying expected. Expect this change. It's a good change.
Hey, Jack.
But I feel like you're finally in a place of allowing, and this is going to make the transition a lot more easier than the tenseness that you were feeling prior. Because the tenseness actually came from not allowing the energetic shift to take place. This is really an energetic shift that's taking place. And when you were feeling super tense, it's because you weren't allowing it. But now that you've relaxed, you're allowing it. And so this shift is going to take place more naturally. It's going to take place more organically. And I just see you just kind of like riding that wave instead of fighting against the tide. And that's really going to be a good thing for you. And I really feel like you're allowing whatever karma has to take place, you're allowing it to take place for good or for bad. But this is definitely going to bring you into a good place, even through uncomfortable situations. You're allowing it to happen. And so this is going to be a really successful month for you by the end because of this. Because of your allowance, J-Lo. I love you, girl. Because of the allowance that you're allowing this to happen, it's going to be successful for you. So, yeah, that's what I'm picking up. And I also feel like... okay, Libra. I don't know if we're getting a little bougie or what, but I feel like, yeah, I mean, okay, I'm a Libra sun, but I don't necessarily feel this for myself, so let me just get that out there. But I feel like my nose is growing. I feel like there's a lot of Libras that are okay. they're clearing it up for me because at first I heard, yeah. At first I heard like fame and fortune. That's not it. It's recognition. That's the key word. There's a big difference between fame and recognition. And it's recognition that Libras are looking for. And so they want to be, and you're getting it. You're finally getting the recognition that you've been fighting for and what seems to be years now. Because I feel like you get there and then you knock back down, and then you get there and then you knock back down, and then now finally, you're finally getting what you've worked so hard for. It's coming. So, congratulations, Libra. Yes. Get it. Okay. Well,
Now that we got that squared away.
That's right. I'm just happy in my own little space right now, knowing that. You're welcome, cuz you're welcome. And you guys, if you haven't already, send Mark, or his screen name is Intuitive Perceptions, send him a friend request. So whenever we go live on his channel, you'll automatically get the notification. Because I'm sure we'll go back and forth, you know, but so when we're live on his, you'll get the notification. And when we're live on mine, I'll get the notification, whatever. It'll go back and forth. So make sure you friend request. And also, if you guys are not on YouTube, go to YouTube, subscribe to YouTube, because a lot of times he'll go live on YouTube. So I think we should do this on YouTube as well, like the collab, if we can. I don't know if we can. I don't know how their system works, but if we can, I think we should do that too. And guys, go to YouTube, because you know I'll tell you this while he's shuffling. This, like I said before, is advertisement. We're advertising our skill set. This is what we do. This is why it's free to you. But if you go to YouTube to support us on YouTube, YouTube will also, it's not much. So don't give you much at all. But anybody that can, you know, put like, share, and subscribe, we get a little cut of that. I mean, it's very little, but it adds up the more people that do it. So we would both greatly appreciate it if you're not subscribed already to come subscribe. He's under Intuitive Perceptions, and I am under, what the hell is my...
One more time, what was that? Recognition, huh?
My YouTube name, what is that? Is it the same thing? Clairvoyant, psychic, medium? Okay, it's the same on YouTube.
Girl, how do you not know? I'm like, yeah, it is. I know. Yeah, it is. Okay.
I know.
All right, Libra. While Spirit is here, I mean, they're all up in my crown chakra. Okay. Okay. Libra. So, I'm going to show you this one card. And don't fret, but just let me explain, or let them explain. Five of Swords.
Makes sense to me.
Okay. But the base card is the Three of Pentacles. So I feel, Libra, like with the King of Cups here and the Five of Swords here, and then with these two cards are clarifying the Three of Pentacles. I feel, Libra, like you're coming into a space where you want to work with people. And I can see it for sure. And I feel, Libra, like it took some emotional adjustments. And it took being open. Sorry, guys, if I pause, I'm letting, you know, my spirit guide speak to me and letting the messages come through to channel. And I feel, Libra, like this was a good time for you to finally, like Kim was saying, just to let it go. And with the King of Cups here, he's someone that allows emotion into the environment. He's someone who approaches things with a great heart. He's a stand-up man. He's a man of his word, of his conviction. And he's also a man, okay, thank you. He's a man to, I mean, you can be a woman as well, you know, but let's just say a person. He's a person that embodies vulnerability and okay with being vulnerable. Because guys, you know how strong you are and how much strength it takes to be vulnerable and to be okay with it. A lot of people, they consider vulnerability or they view it as being weak, and it's not weak. It's actually so strong, and it takes so much work to even be there. And guys, they're also wanting me to tell you that it's a constant work at getting it and obtaining it, because when as we progress in our life and as we age and as we we get older and as we become wiser, our values are going to change, and they're always going to change, and they're supposed to change. If they remain stagnant, something's going on. But when they do change, and yet we still remain to be okay with being vulnerable and allowing our vulnerability to come through, that's such a strong thing. And that's such a strong trait to possess. And you're always going to learn about what you need and what you require, but it's going to be a journey, And it's something that I feel with the Five of Swords here. I feel, Libra, like you had to win this battle of one, because it was a battle against yourself. And it's funny how you mentioned recognition, because this card is representative of no one really giving recognition, but you gain recognition for yourself, which was most important. That's what you gained from it. While everyone else, was walking away, you were like, usually I say, everyone's walking away and no one really cares, but I feel, Libra, like you stood there with your two swords and your third one and then two on the floor, and you're like, I'm going to leave these and I'm going to keep these, because this is what I need to move forward. This is what I need to recognize. And I feel like I never looked at the Five of Swords as kind of positive like that, but hey, Spirit's funny how they work. And I feel
that's
like,
why when you pulled it out, I was like, makes sense to me.
I know,
I
was like, damn. But then they went, hold on, Mark. And I was like, oh, okay. So
yeah.
Clarifying this, or at the bottom, or in terms of like the outcome, we have the Page of Swords here. Now, isn't it funny how I said you gain recognition for yourself? Because the Page of Swords is someone who, pages are initiators. They want to understand, and they begin at the beginning. So I feel, Libra, like you are beginning now. You went back and you began to understand what communication is, but most importantly, communication with yourself, so that then you can then become the knight, where you're on the quest to understand how the communication works with, how the communication works with other people. Wow, you actually gained it for yourself, because now that you have more of an understanding of yourself, you're able to then give your organic heart to other people, and it's going to be in an honest manner. And then we have here the Two of Cups. This can be a union of two souls of two people, but I feel, Libra, like this is more of a union with yourself, with your tangible human body and with spirit, because you allowed that to come through. You allowed the emotions to come through, and you handled it correctly. It was hard as hell. Don't get me wrong. I'm a Libra ascendant, so I know it was very hard, and it's going to continue to be hard, because I'm not a parent and I'm not married, but I believe that working on yourself is probably if not one of the hardest things to ever do in this entire world. Like, it's tough. So I feel like this is a union of you and who you are, union of spirit, body, and mind, in a sense. And it's funny.
I feel like that's awesome. I was gonna say, I feel like that you finally allowing that connection with spirits, like finally allowing that to happen, and then it's an emotional thing, which is the cups, and absolutely, it's you with you.
And also joining your masculine and femininity together, because Libra is a very masculine sign. It's an air sign, but then Libra then has they also, or we, I should say, we also have that sentimental side to us as well, and that diplomacy, and that and that discernment of what's fair, how do we even the scales out. And I feel like it's an even amount of masculinity with femininity. And that's
Yes.
finding the healthy balance, you know? And we did get the Six of Wands up reverse. Now, this is public recognition when it's upright, but when it's in reverse, I sometimes look at the Six of Wands reverse as people or you not understanding yourself, because when it's upright, people understand you because they give you the recognition and you gain it. So sometimes, you know, it all depends upon the surrounding cards, but I feel like in this case, it's safe to say that maybe you or the people didn't really understand yourself. But if you don't understand yourself, other people can't understand who you are, because you can't correct them, or you can't, you know, let them know that they're actually not correct, or if they're wrong, or if they're actually right at that, you know, at that point. Once again, the Page of Wands, because then you went back and you realize and you recognize, okay, who am I? What am I doing? What's my point? What's my reason? Where am I going? You know? And then look what we end with, the Ten of Pentacles.
Dun, dun, dun.
Because the Ten of Pentacles is also achievement of yourself in terms of stability and also other people. So that's important as well. Look, see? Because that's what happens when we work with other people. We're able then to allow them into our life. And we're able to then understand, okay, Spirit wants me to say, drawing your boundary lines and establishing your boundary lines. But Libra, you cannot trample over your own boundary lines. And that goes for everyone, every single zodiac sign. You cannot trample over your own boundary lines, and you can't yield from them or to them, because then what makes you think that you at least have enough respect for yourself to tell someone you're not crossing my line if you just cross it and trample over it all day? You know? It's one of those things, I feel. Bottom of the deck, the High Priestess. You know, this is, let's say, the keeper of secrets, but the keeper of knowledge. You know, she's someone who has the answers. She's someone of wisdom and of insight. And I feel like you used your intuition, Libra. And I mean, hey, when you trusted yourself, right, and you establish your boundary lines. Hey, Derry, what's going on? The Ten of Cups. I mean, the Ten of Pentacles. I mean, hey, this is great, guys. I mean, look, these are fantastic cards. I mean, this is all just fabulous. Like, my God, this is great.
Yeah.
And it all started here with just allowing the emotion to come through and to understand what you need and what you require. And that's what it took. And I know a lot of my Libra general readings, they were a little rough. But I was getting from Libra, like, just a lot of, like, just, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to push forward. I don't want to push forward. And I'm like, come on, guys, push. It's there. It's right there.
I have to say that when that reading was done, we were still in that space, you know, which is why it's good that this is being done now, because we were still in that space at that time. And then we had to, and then finally, I think it was just tired of being in that space. Nothing actually happened to pull us out of the space except for sheer exhaustion of being in it all the time. Like, it just seemed like
you become sick and tired of being sick and tired. And that's what, that was my whole point with Libra, you know, and I'm a Libra ascendant, like I mentioned before. And when I finished the Libra reading, I was like, ooh, that was kind of harsh. And then Spirit told me, they were like, so how do you feel about that? Maybe you're in that same boat? And I was like, well, okay. Oh, all right. And they're like, yeah. I was like, ooh,
exactly.
A shame. But okay.
Because, well, the thing is, too, it's like, we want to listen. We'll listen to Spirit when Spirit has stuff to say, you know.
And they'll tell you the damn truth.
Telling us,
they do not lie to you. Oh my God, those people. They, woo. Sometimes I'm like, is that necessary? Like, do you have to be that mean? Like, they're like, yes. I'm like, oh, okay.
Okay.
I guess. Shady.
God, and you're like, what can you say back to them? Nothing.
Right?
Nothing.
I'm like, all right.
Except, okay. Yeah, that's all you can say. It's like, all right, I get it.
I'm like, like, you know. Okay. What do we? Scorpiolos.
All right. You need
Or,
mean? Hey,
or
Darren. What
a
do you mean?
Scorpico. I call them Scorpicos because, you know, water signs are very dualistic.
Very much so.
All
And
of
that's my
them.
rising sign. So
A lot of people forget that Scorpio is, you know, a water sign. That's why in one of my videos I kind of joked around. I was like, Scorpio, the person that everyone forgets is a water sign. And it's true. But Scorpio's emotions run so deep. Oh my God. I think it takes like a Virgo to
yeah,
understand.
but I mean, and look at it. It's Scorpio's got that hard outer shell. The actual Scorpio, they have a hard outer shell, you know, and it's really just like the person, the hard outer shell, but inside, oh my God,
Mushy
gummy bears,
gushy, just
mushy
crazy.
gushy. I know it, and little like sappy crybabies. I know.
Yeah.
With my Scorpio rising, I'm like, why am I crying? I don't even know why I'm
Seriously.
crying. Like,
My mother's a Scorpio rising. My brother's a Scorpio moon. My sister's a Scorpio moon. I'm like, damn, all these damn Scorpios. And I have a lot of Scorpio kind of placements and a lot of aspects. Yeah, so Scorpio, yeah. It runs deep with me too in other ways. Okay, Kim, what are you picking up for Scorpio?
all right, Scorpio. Well, let's see. And thanks, cuz. Let me see what I get.
Yeah, Spirit just said, Scorpio, it's gonna be okay. Things will be all right.
Yeah. I think they're still in a resisting phase. I feel like Scorpios are resisting. I feel like they're not seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. And I feel like they've just been in this really dark place for so long that it's hard for them to even see it. And I really feel like they're carrying that energy in still from the last reading that I did where I was saying they just feel numb. I really feel like this is them. I feel like it's like they're having a hard time, it seems, even finding a reason to smile. I really feel like
Oh, I felt the whole energy shift right now, Kim. That was crazy.
yeah, because they just came into like really coming in,
I felt
and I'm
it too.
feeling them see like despair. That I'm hearing that word again, but they're saying in a way where they're saying, "Do not despair," you know, do not despair, because I feel like Scorpios are so drowning. They're drowning. They're drowning in their own emotions. It's like I'm seeing the cup, which is like in the tarot, you know, the cups definitely really strong Scorpio cups, energy strong Scorpio, and I'm seeing it's like they're trying to climb their way out of this chalice, and they're falling back in, you know, and so it's like you're drowning in your own shit. That's the way I'm getting it. And I don't mean to, you know, to be cussing, but that's the way I'm getting it. It's like, it's okay. It's okay to feel, you know, it's not really like Scorpio, and I have to say this, because it's not really like Scorpio to have a pity party. But how much pity are you going to wallow in? Like, how much of this are you going to wallow in before you decide, okay, let's go, you know, it's time, this is enough of this already. Because you're not even trying to make the moves to get yourself out of that feeling. It's like you're just so stuck in there that you don't even understand how to get out of it. And the only way out of it is to, one, find a better feeling thought to focus on, because you're really in a dark place in thought-wise. I feel like when you're speaking with other people, I feel like you're presenting yourself in a way where you're just like, yep, okay, you know, just kind of like, I think you're being cordial, but I feel like when you get by yourself, you're just not understanding where your life is going. Is this worth it? But you don't want to move. It's like, you know that this isn't good. Wherever you're staying stagnant, you know it's not good, but you're not even trying to move. And I feel like you're not trying to move Not wanting to be vulnerable, not wanting to feel any more pain, not wanting to make any mistakes. You know, it's like, you know, with like King Midas, he's got the Midas touch, everything he touches turns to gold. I feel like it's the complete opposite for you, the way you're feeling. I feel like you feel like everything you touch turns to shit. And so you don't want to touch anything. So you just want to stay put, go to work, come home. Say hi to the family, sit here. Do this. The bare minimum is what I feel like you want to do right now, because you're not seeing the positive results from putting the effort in. But it's truly, truly, truly caused by where you've got your mind focused. If you could change that focus, you could change that reality. But you've got to be able to change your focus. And that's what I'm getting for Scorpio.
Okay. See 2 more cards.
Well, that one's important. That one just flew out.
Right? Okay. So, Scorpio, for the base card, you got the Queen of Swords reverse. Queen of Swords reverse, you know, is someone who maintains an environment of communication that is, how you want to use that word? That's absurd. That's what they say. They wanted me to use that word. It's, yeah, a lot of hostility. It doesn't make sense. It's, okay, it's freaking stupid, they said. I'm like, don't do this to me, Spirit, please. Okay, because
I think it's very similar to Cancer.
Yeah, a little bit. What's clarifying it is we have the 8 of Swords reverse, you know, with the Lovers reverse. Okay, they're saying, Scorpio, just come on. You're going to have to make the decision to no longer be trapped. And it's your decision, okay? They also want me to say, sometimes they rush and I'm like, hold on, one at a time. They said to make the decision, okay. And is this causing you to be stuck? Is this causing you to come out of it? And they said, no. And
hey, Ronnie.
What's the outcome? The Hermit, you know, gaining and seeking wisdom. And see, look, see how he's looking up into the skies, into the heavens. See, Kim, what I was saying earlier about Virgo with the lantern.
With that light. Very
and
spiritual.
It's good that it's here because, you know, it's showing that, you know, you have to look up into the skies. And what it is you have to look up and depend on something that's bigger than you. And there's always going to be something that's bigger than you.
Absolutely.
And
I think Scorpios have a hard time with that because they feel very big themselves. And I feel like they're being put in a position where they're feeling small. And they don't like that. They don't like that.
Because why? Because that brings in vulnerability. And Scorpio is really big on vulnerability. But you guys, Scorpio, this requires vulnerability. There's no way around it. But this is vulnerability with yourself, most importantly, so that you can then allow yourself to be vulnerable in front of other people. And once again, going back to the idea of being okay with it. It's okay to be vulnerable because that does express or show your weaknesses. But at the same time, you're able to see what areas you need to work on. And everyone has issues with vulnerability and everyone has inadequacies in their life. Scorpio, don't feel like you're the only one that has that specific issue and no one will understand. You know what I mean? Like, okay, they told me to tell you too, Scorpio, never hide the person who you really are inside because you never know who will love that person once you let it out. And also the 8 of Cups here with the Hermit as well. You need to walk away from those things that no longer serve you. You need to walk away from communicating in such a detrimental way because of the vulnerability. You need to walk away from the stagnation, from actually, you need to walk away from deciding to not make a decision, you know, and staying stuck. But you can release yourself from it. Once again, with the idea of the Rider-Waite tarot, with the blindfold, you're choosing to say like that. Okay, and then we have the Knight of Pentacles reversed. You know, this is someone who does things on their own time. Someone who's, this is the slowest knight as it is. So when he's in reversed, I mean, he's just not even treading, like he's dirty. Okay, they're stupid. They have me, they gave me the vision of, instead of you on top of the horse, you're walking the horse, like kind of thing, you know, you're like with the reins, like, no, you're coming in slow. You're not okay, you're not using the tools that you have that are necessary to continue to move forward. Because if you just, okay, if you just get over your fear and hop on that horse, whether there's a saddle or not, you can move faster, but that's your decision. Why are you walking the horse? They said, why are you walking the horse? Because you can't even lead him to the damn water by itself. Maybe you can lead yourself to the water. They're weird. Okay. My God, they're being smart right now. Clarifying that's the Four of Wands reversed with the Nine of Swords here. The Four of Wands here is the first layer of foundation, right? This is the first layer of success. This is the first layer that you lay down. We need to make sure, Scorpio, that this layer is strong and that there's no cracks within the foundation, right? Because if there is, nothing won't withstand everything that, you know, that's built upon it or on top of it. You're going to have to make sure that the foundation is strong. And what happens when you don't believe that the foundation is strong, or you can't sleep at night, or you have so much anxieties, or, you know, you're like the angel there, you know, like he's, get it clear, but he has, you know, his head in his hands there. It's kind of hard to clear it up, but
yeah.
You know, for sure. Like, why are you doing this? This is also another card of choice. You know, you're choosing to relish or to oblige this sort of nervousness, this sort of paralyzation. Is that a word? They just said paralyzed. Like, you know, you're choosing to be paralyzed like that. And I understand that there are different circumstances, but why aren't you getting on top of the horse, you know, to move forward a little bit faster? And then the outcome right here, we have the Hierophant and the Magician. These are two cards of power right here. This is a card of establishment. You know, this is the card of people come to this person for advice. And this, you know, people come to this person because this person has been through the rains. This person has weathered the storms, they said. And you need to weather your storm. Okay, they said, are you going to walk in the storm, or are you going to ride the horse in the storm to get through it? That's what they said. Also, the Magician here, having the tools necessary to move forward. But you're going to have to do it for yourself. But you're going to have to go back to the beginning and understand. Okay, they want me to tell you, understand why you do the things that you do, and why do they serve you. You have to understand that. And also, I relate the Hierophant to establishing your boundary lines as well. That's one of those cards for me where I say you need to, your boundary lines, you need to make them stronger. You need to not cross over them. I think that's all I'm getting. Yeah, I think that's it. Oh, look, so we have the Queen of Wands reverse. Be careful what you do and how you plan, and the course that you take and the decisions that you make when you approach something new. Keep the environment open and optimistic, because when you do that, 10 of Pentacles, you can achieve this. It's possible. But you're going to have to be vulnerable and work on those areas that need to be worked upon so that you can get there, because you'll never get there. Okay, I think that's all I'm getting.
Yeah, and I also feel like, because the other thing that I was getting throughout this whole entire reading, it's like, it seems like Scorpio's energy is kind of where Libra's energy just came from. And I feel like Spirit is asking Scorpio to be more like the Libra. What did the Libra have to do in order to get to the place that they're at right now, where they're just being comfortable with allowing things to happen, to take place? It's kind of like they're asking you to take on that Libra energy just temporarily for now, you know? I think that's what's going on. So yeah, that's what I'm getting for that too. All right, Sag. Let me get introspection. That's the word, introspection. You know, Sagittarius, I feel like once you get over the feeling of being justified, I feel like you're going to see things how they really are. But I feel like right now you feel justified to feel and act and say and do what you want to do right now. I feel like you're really taking on the victim mentality. I don't really think you're looking for people to have pity on you. I really think this is you sitting in your own stuff. You know, and I feel like a lot of the past reading that I did is kind of leading up into this one too, where I know that with Sagittarius, I was saying that you're going to have to climb down off this pedestal temporarily to be humbled a little bit. I feel like this is going to be a good thing for you. But I also feel like you have to be really careful. It's okay to take the space that you need to take, but don't burn bridges. Don't burn bridges. Do not burn any bridges, Sagittarius. You know, they're showing me the Queen of Swords tarot card. They're showing me this card. And what they're showing me is a very stern, bossy, just standing your ground, but not being very nice about it. But it's so funny because it's like the card, the image on the card that I'm seeing shifted. So it's like at first she's sitting there real stern and standing her ground and speaking what she feels like she needs to speak. But then all of a sudden it's like she's still holding up her sword, but now her head is in her hand. Like, what did I do? That's like what you're asking yourself. What did I do? What did I create? Now you're starting to take responsibility. Now I feel like this is where the humbling comes in. This is where I feel like you're coming off this pedestal that you're sitting on. And I feel like this is a good place for you to be, because I feel like you need a little bit of self-honesty. I feel like you're really quick to point the finger at everybody else for whatever's going on with you internally. But I feel like once you can get past this, you can get back on this pedestal and be that happy little self that you are. But until then, you really got to go through this and work through this. Whatever this is, you've got to work through it. And I think you're going to allow it to happen. And I don't really get the sense of feeling ashamed of yourself for anything. I feel like this is something that you're going to kind of keep to yourself, but just act differently once you come out of it. actually should be towards people. I just don't know how long it's going to take you. But this may lead to a lot of Sagittarius. This may lead to an awakening, spiritual awakening. I think this is your wake-up call. I think this is your wake-up. I feel like this is going to, and I feel like you're sensing something like that, and you're scared of it. You don't know what it is. You don't even realize that's what it is, but I really feel like this is spirit coming in saying, okay, wake up. Time to wake up. So, yeah, that's what I'm getting for Sagittarius.
Okay, what's funny right now is I had the first set here and the second set here, and they said switch it. Okay. All right, Sag. They wanted me to tell you the reason why they said switch it. You know, they said they're actually asking you a question. Sagittarius, are you stuck in the past? And if the answer is, okay, they said, well, they're going to first say no, and then you tell them they're lying. And okay. And he says, you know, because Page of Swords, that's why. I said, okay. I was like, stop being so mean. Like, but that's what they're saying. And they said, then when you know that they're lying, because they're going to say no. And then when they say yes, Jacqueline, right? He says for me to ask you, and how is that going for you? I was like, God, you guys are so mean. Okay. I'm like, what happened last time? They were all nice when we did, you know, the first set. Like,
I think this is them waking them up.
What are you doing, Sag, with the Emperor here reversed? What are you protecting? Are you protecting your stability? How are you protecting it, and how are you going along with it? Or what are you doing to protect it? Because with the Nine of Wands here reversed, no, this is almost like wasted effort. This is really giving up when you've come so far. Don't give up. And I feel like when you do give up, it's because you're visiting the past, right? But when the Six of Cups is reversed, you know, it can speak of being stuck in the past, but also it can speak of only thinking about the negative traits that happened in the past, or the negative aspects of the past. And what that ends up doing is that ends up tainting your future in terms of, okay, they also want me to say it ends up tainting your confidence as well. Maybe because you feel like, why am I in this position? How far have I come? But instead of looking at it as, why am I in this position? Why am I in this rut? Think about this though, like, you're in this rut, but you're still going through it. And look how strong you are to even get halfway through the rut, you know? And you can make it out the rut, but don't give up, because you're almost there in terms of getting through it. And I feel like when you stay stuck in the past, Sag, that's when you don't protect your stability, because you don't feel like it's worth it. You don't have an appreciation for it. I feel like that's a big one, because why? What do we end with? The Ten of Swords. Thinking about the negative, see, going back to thinking about the negative traits of the past and not the good nostalgic, you know, aspects of it, it leads to this. And when you hit rock bottom, okay, but going back to what I said before, when you're at the bottom, you could still look up and see, you know, where the top resides. Guys, we can only move forward, for it is the only direction that God, the universe, has provided for us. So why are we trying to reverse things and stay in the past? The past is there because, yeah, it's there to teach us lessons. It's there to teach us what we have learned and what we need to learn. It's also there to teach us as to what we don't want to do now, what we don't want to do in the future. You know, it's there to be visited and to revisit it, but not to stay stuck in it, because then that causes stagnation. Because then that affects our plans, you know, in terms of looking out into the world and making those decisions for ourselves in terms of, okay, what do I need? What's the best way to approach this? What can I do? What are my decisions, you know, or what are my choices so I can make a decision, right? Because I feel like a lot of it has to do with stability, you know, with the Knight of Coins there. and also with the Empress. You know, you got the Empress, check it out. You got the Empress upright, which I consider this Aries energy as well, just to throw that out there. But you got the Emperor reversed. Whenever you get the Empress and the Emperor together, like, those are very powerful cards. It's saying that, you know, you're in tune, mind, body, and spirit. You're in tune in terms of creation and also maintenance. But if your maintenance is in reverse, your creation is not going to be so, how can I say it, so viable. It's not going to be usable, especially when you're looking out into the world and you're already setting yourself up for failure in terms of, I can't do it. Oh my God, how am I going to move forward? How am I going to do this? When you start to doubt yourself, you know, you're not protecting what you have earned and what you have. And then also, what are you going to create? But the things that you're going to create, are they going to be something of substance, you know? And I feel with the Page of Swords reverse here, I mean, he can be viewed as maybe someone who, I don't want to call him a stalker, but someone who just observes, and they may try and get over on people. Also, the Page of Swords too reverses. Whenever I see pages, guys, that are reversed, that's immediate, just stubborn ass energy. Like, that's just like the little kid pouting saying, I don't want to do it. Well, why? Because it's stupid. Like that kind of thing, you know? And you can't do that, because not only are you affecting communication with other people, but you're not trusting yourself. You're not trusting in your own beliefs based upon your own, you know, merits, based upon your own, what you have learned. And then if you're doing that, what are you going to create? And how are you going to protect it if you don't feel strong and you're wanting to give up and you feel like you can't continue moving forward, and therefore you can't make a decision in terms of the plans that you want, and then you end up back here. It's a cycle. You're going to have to break it, and it's tough. And I hate to say that we can't really give you an answer in terms of how to break it, but only you can do that. But it begins by visiting the past. But don't look at the negative things in the past. Don't let that consume your future in terms of how you create it, right? How you create your future and what comes out of it, you know, the abundance that comes from it. But don't look at, like I said, don't look at the negativity and only use that as your guide. Okay, that's what they wanted me to say. Use it as learning lessons. Okay, they also want me to say what I usually always say is, there's a difference, Sag, between, you know, speaking or looking over, you know, what happened and where it went wrong. Doing this is what happened. This is not where it went wrong, you know? And staying stuck in the past is just talking about what happened. Because that's what usually I usually ask my clients that, you know, when I do my private readings. I mean, I tell them, I don't mean to be so brash, but they go, no, okay, no, that's fine, go ahead and ask me. I go, so what would you like to talk about? You know, would you like to talk about what happened or where it went wrong? And they're like, oh, wow, I never thought about it like that. I said, yeah, because those are two whole different stories, two whole different approaches. So just let me know which one you want to talk about. Like, and I'm saying, I'm being completely honest. And the majority of them say, okay, let's talk about where it went wrong. And I'm like, good choice. Because that's how we learn. I think that's all I'm getting to.
Yeah. And the other thing I wanted to say too to Sagittarius, to kind of like help you through this, is whatever this is deeply rooted. This is something not from this recent past. This is something from the distant past. And I think that Sagittarius are kind of distorting the truth
The Page of Swords.
Meaning, there's a lot more to the story that you're leaving out of the story. Like, okay, so somebody had a reaction towards you, but what caused their reaction? What action was taken that caused their reaction, or vice versa? We can't leave only your feelings in the equation. Whatever happened with the other party, that's relevant too. And you have to try to look at it from both sides, because that's absolutely relevant. But it seems like Sagittarius are carrying in this energy, like you're saying, like with the little kid. Hey, Andrea, like with the little kid, it's like, it's not fair, it's not going my way. But that's really an immature way to look at it, because you've got to be able to take responsibility for your part in this in order to even move forward, or you will never move forward. You will stay stuck. You've got to be able to be mature enough to take your own responsibility.
You took the words right out of my mouth, because I was about to say taking responsibility for your end of of the deal. And even if the other person doesn't take responsibility for their end, you still took responsibility for yours, because, you know, it takes two to tango. I hate using that stupid cliche, but it's true though, you know, like it, you know, it is what it is. And that's just what, you know, I mean, hey, okay, they also want me to say that, you know, you can't predict the future, but you can anticipate it. You must anticipate it, but don't let that, you know, keep you consumed, and don't drown in it. But, you know, don't think about what, you know, what's going to happen now, what can happen. You need to also think about that before. You're so rude today. They say, think about what, they said, what you need to do is you need to think about what can happen before you open your damn mouth. I was like, Mike, okay.
It's
Like,
the truth, though.
Jesus.
It's true. It's true. And
I know
his guys have no filter. No filter. But yeah, that's absolutely true. So sorry, Sad. You'll be able to get back up on your pedestal soon enough. But for right now, take that whooping. Just kidding.
They said, well, you can get back up there you can't get back up there unless, you know, the stairs or the steps are not already broken. But maybe you're carrying too much baggage on your back to the point where when you step on the step, it automatically snaps and it breaks. They said, think about what if you can never get back up on that pedestal? How are you going to view yourself then? Wow. Okay, let's move on, because they're just throwing all kinds of shade. I'm like, who are you? Like,
Okay, Capricorn. All right, Capricorn. What do we got? I love Capricorn, but I'm biased. My mom's a Capricorn, and she's my favorite person. So I'm a little biased, but let's see what we got. I'm getting upbeat. You feeling upbeat, Lissy? I feel like, oh gosh, I just got this crazy feeling. That was weird. Okay, Capricorn. I think Capricorn has like a new sense of motivation. I mean, they're a pretty motivated sign anyway. But I feel like they have a new vitality. Like a sense of feeling refreshed, like starting over on a clean slate with their thinking. Like, I don't know, it's kind of like when you've been working really hard at work, and then you get your 30-minute break, and then you come back and you just feel refreshed. You're ready to go again, you know? I feel like that's where they're at. I feel like there's still a lot of work that's got to come, that's got to be done, but I feel like they're ready to tackle it now. Oh, guys, I love you so much, but don't inbox me right now, okay? Thank you. But I feel like they're ready to tackle that right now. I feel like, they're still facing some opposition, but I feel like feeling better. I feel like they're feeling better. All right. I don't know if you guys saw that or not. I had to silence my
hi, Jacqueline, you're crazy.
Okay, so sorry, I had an interruption. I had to quiet it. I also get the word complacent for Capricorn. feel like they're comfortable where they're at in their own growth right now. I feel like, I mean, they're a very logical sign, very thinking sign, very in tune with their surroundings. And I feel like right at the moment, things are okay. They're not even too focused right now of what's going to come after this moment. Because I feel like they're just enjoying this moment of peace, of quiet. Whatever is happening right now. Like, this isn't even what's coming. This is what's going on right now. I feel like they're just sitting in that and relaxing in that. And I feel like there's a sense of ease with them. I feel like even if people were coming at them, you know, I feel like they're kind of very much like the Libra right now. Just like, yeah, whatever. You're not bothering me. Like, I don't feel like they're phased too much by other people's stuff. Or maybe they just don't want to be phased by it. I just feel like they're really in a comfortable place right now. But I think this is right now. I don't see this. It doesn't feel like this is projected forward. I feel like this is just for right now. This is the way this feels to me. Are there any Capricorns watching? Oh, Lissy, you're a Capricorn. Are you still here? I wonder if the, okay, so does that make sense, Lissy? I mean, because sometimes the cards match up, sometimes they won't, you know, I don't know, I think it's just odd that I'm only getting the feeling for right here, right now. It's not projected out. I find that very odd for me, because usually it's like an energy that you're in right now, plus what to expect. Okay, good. Because but right now, I feel like it's just for this moment, just for right now. That's it. Or maybe that's the energy that they're taking on, even coming forward. Maybe that's, you know, like one day at a time type of feeling, you know, just take it one day at a time. Because I'm really feeling it. Maybe, you know, and it could just mean that they're present in the moment. And that's how they're handling things. Being in the moment. Your daughter and sister Capricorn, Heidi, does that make sense for them too? Yeah, I can kind of see like how that would make sense even for my mom right now too. That's pretty neat. Wonder. But I'm very curious to see what the cards say, because like it feels like it's just right here, right now. So I'm wondering if it's going to change or if it's going to stay the same, you know? So that's weird.
It's funny how the energy shifted for you, Kim, because when I did my general for Capricorn, I was a little confused with the spread, right? Not this one, with my regular generals that I do on YouTube. And I was sitting outside, right, you know, and I was just kind of like, I actually had to like stop the recording, and I was like, okay, what's going on? Because whenever I read for a sign and I start to say like, oh, the 8 of Wind or the 8 of Cups means this, and then this card means this. When I start to do that, say what the cards mean literally, I have to stop, because I know that I'm not picking it up. I'm not seeing, my Virgo isn't like reading between the lines, and I'm not seeing the story. So that happened to me, and I sat outside, right, and I was just like, okay, I was like, okay, Spirit, like what's going on? And they said, they said, the reason why you couldn't really understand what was going on right there is because, they're funny, they said, because you need to experience what Capricorn is currently feeling. And I was like, oh, I don't get it. What do you mean? Like, and they're like, Capricorn, your old tactics aren't working anymore. The way that you usually maybe get your way, or the way that you handle things. Specifically, Spirit told me, I think the title of the video was your fury no longer works. Like, I think Capricorn was kind of used to, I don't want to call it throwing fits, but maybe, you know, because since Capricorn's a very grounded sign,
not very patient, you know.
yeah,
like,
they're very grounded, and they're very good at like getting, okay, I'm gonna say getting people on their team or to doing what they want, not in a negative way. It's like just kind of guiding people along the path, you know. And I feel like Capricorn is kind of they've become complacent with that, and when people are now maybe giving them resistance, they're kind of becoming a little bit upset, and it's taking them out of their element. So then they're kind of saying like they're going to catch themselves saying, why isn't that working anymore? And I feel like it's going to be a turn of events for them where they're going to see, they're going to realize the fine line, you know, between expectation and motive. What are you doing? Like, do you expect people to do it the way that you want, or are you motivating them? Like, I feel like that's what it is. It feels like their old tactics of anger isn't no longer going to work in terms of getting their way or what they want. And I feel like they're at this precipice right now where they're going to realize that, where they're going to realize like, why am I getting mad when people don't do what I tell them to do or what I suggest? I feel like that's kind of where Capricorn's at. Okay, so that was, you know, off topic, but here I'm seeing, okay, we have the Seven of Swords reverse. The Seven of Swords reverse for me is catching someone. But I feel like you're going to catch yourself, Capricorn. You're going to catch those little things that you say or that you do. And you're going to have those moments where you're going to find yourself saying something and then turning away and then going, ooh, that didn't come out right. Or, oh, why did I say it like that? Like, damn, that was mean. Like, you're going to catch those moments in your life, I feel. And we have the Moon card reversed here as well. You know, maybe you could be dealing with a Pisces, but besides that, I mean, I feel like it's, okay, I feel like it's time now, Capricorn, to view those painful things that have happened in your life, because I know that it's all about stability and it's all about tradition. It's all about moving forward. But what are you hiding from yourself? I feel like, you know, whenever the Moon card's reversed for me, it's deception indicated. But I feel like deception indicated, but from yourself. You're going to realize, what have you been lying to yourself about? What are your motives? Why do you do the things that you do? And then with the Two of Cups reversed here, you know, kind of feeling like going back to that idea of maybe bringing your body and your spirit together, your masculine and femininity together. I feel like maybe that's not what's kind of going on. I maybe feel like maybe more of your masculine traits are coming out, where it's like, we're going to do it like this, and we're going to do A, B, and C, and then we're going to get it. You know, this is what's going to happen. And I feel like you're going to have to walk away from these things with the Eight of Cups here. You know, they no longer serve you. I'm sorry, wait, Eight of Cups? No, I'm sorry. This is the Eight of Swords. Even the same thing, walking away from being trapped and from having the illusion or the blindfold over your eyes in terms of, see, look, all reverse. And these aren't necessarily really, really bad cards, but, you know, catching someone, being super slick, deception indicated, and not having balance between who you are and, you know, and between your masculine and femininity. So I feel like all of these aspects, not lying to yourself, catching the things that you say, since it is, you know, that it is the sword, so it's communication. And also, you know, water, understanding what are you lying to yourself about and how are you communicating it, and are you going to catch yourself? That's what I really feel like that's what's going on here a little bit. And I felt that in the reading, and then that's why Spirit told me when I did my general, going back to that, they they told me, Mark, the way that you usually look at cards and how you read them, like your method, did it work? And I said, well, I guess no, not really. And they went, welcome to the club. And I was like, oh, that's how they feel. Okay. He's like, that's exactly what's going on with them. Their tactics aren't working anymore for them. Four of Wind here, the Four of Swords, you know, going into contemplation, having those moments by yourself, having those moments of solace and really viewing your future and seeing what you need. This is going back to when we said like what happened or where it went wrong. This is the where it went wrong card, you know, seeing where it went wrong. Because here in this deck, Resurrection is just Judgment, but the numerals are different. It's weird. But anyway, this is Judgment, and then we have the Mother of Cups reverse. So when I see this, it's kind of like, have you been allowing situations to maybe walk all over you in a sense? Have you been completely honest with yourself? I feel like, you know, back to the mother, you know, the Mother of Cups is someone who maintains the environment. Is there open communication throughout the environment, but are you honest with yourself? Have you been honest with yourself? I feel like that's why Judgment's here, you know, and you need to resurrect from kind of, I don't want to call it really lying to yourself, but causing yourself to feel like this. Okay, I just picked up by telling yourself, we'll deal with that later in terms of your emotions. You know, Virgo does that a lot too, where they're just like, okay, we'll just deal with that later. But they said, you want to save it for a rainy day, but the rain never comes and it never arrives. And they also said, but when the rain does come, it's a storm. But the rain droplets are like your tears because it's a storm, because it's an overload. You know, it's a lot of the amount of emotion that comes through, because the storm usually floods things, you know, because it's a flood of your emotions. Did you deal with them at that specific time? How did you deal with them? You know, and then at the bottom, the Chariot, you know, Cancer energy, but also the Chariot. And I feel like it's very appropriate here. It's apropos because you see how there's the white and the black here. And this is taking the good with the bad and putting it together and then moving forward with it, you know? And that's just what it's about. It's about taking the good with the bad and then just moving forward, you know, not staying stuck on either side. And I feel like that's why the Chariot's here, and I feel like it's really appropriate for that reason. But I feel like it's moving forward, you know, with your emotions too, but you need to have proper judgment. You need to acknowledge your emotions and why you feel like you feel. Like I always tell Virgo, take 5 minutes and just sit down and ask yourself, why do I feel like this? You know, it's okay to do that. Everyone needs that. And I feel like that's why the Four of Swords is here. The moment of contemplation, of checking in with yourself and having introspection. Is that it? Yeah. Well, bottom of the deck, Star card reversed. You maybe could be dealing with an Aquarius, but besides that, you know, being vulnerable. Once again, Capricorn's they're one of the prouder, you know, earth signs, because they're very grounded, and they're very, you know, they're very, like I said, tradition, what's been working. This is how we're going to do it. This is how we're going to do it. But then Spirit then, once again, asked me to ask you, and how's that going for you now? Christ consciousness is changing. This road is changing. We're raising vibrations. Things are different now. We need to look at things from a different perspective. And I feel like that's the message for Capricorn. Yeah, that's it.
In that order.
That was a lot. Oh my God. Okay.
Woo, that was good. Okay.
God.
All right, Aquarius. You know, Aquarius, what I'm getting for Aquarius is not really being on the up and up, and really
You're welcome, Lissy.
I'm getting like a hidden zone with Aquarius, you know, like there's something hidden.
I think maybe hidden, like Judgment reversed here. When I see this is, did you learn your lesson? No. Did you learn it?
Yeah. It could
I
be
feel like
that
a little bit.
too. Yeah. And I'm feeling like unspoken, things not spoken. Like there's God, it seems like their energy is just so rigid. You know, I'm feeling like this rigidity with Aquarius. I feel like they'll speak, but not everything. They're holding back. I'm getting kind of like be careful. Like be careful. Because I feel like some are just treading thin ice when it comes to their partnerships. But I also feel like there's a lot of Aquarius that are just feeling lonely. Like they're just feeling I think they're really confused. I think they're up in their head a lot. I mean, they're an air sign. They're going to be up in their head. But I think it's just a lot lately. Just trying to figure out where they went wrong. You know, it's like I could see them trying to find the right solution to a problem. It's just like I'm seeing this, the temperance card, you know, where the temperance is trying to mix the cup, like the solution. Like I feel like they're trying to keep mixing until they come up with the right solution to whatever their issue is. I feel like maybe they're even so oblivious to their surroundings that, like, so caught up in thought that they're oblivious to their surroundings. You know, I'm also getting the word loyalty. So I feel like loyalty is really important for Aquarius to learn more of. Like, I feel like their sense of loyalty needs work. And lack of compassion. It's almost like you show more loyalty to an animal than a human being. Not that animals don't deserve that. I'm just saying, you know, if you have a person in your presence in an animal, you want to be just as loyal to the person in your presence, you know? I mean, and compassionate. It's like Aquarius really lacks compassion. I don't think it's on purpose. I just don't think they understand it. Like, I don't feel like they understand how it works. Like, it's almost like they purposely try to dig down deep to find some type of feeling, bring it to the surface and say, look, I have compassion. Don't you see the tear? Like it's, how could you say that about me? It really feel like it's traumatized, but not sincere. And I think that's where the hidden zone comes in too. I feel like it's there, but getting to it is hard. And I feel like you're holding that back. Like you don't want to make yourself that vulnerability again and again. It's coming up, being vulnerable.
Yeah, Kathy, kind of like that a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, no sense of empathy. It's like very little of it. It's very hard for you to put yourself in another person's shoes because it seems like you're thinking about it instead of feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
And thinking about how this doesn't make sense because it just doesn't make sense. Like you're using more of a logical approach than an emotional approach. And when you can't put yourself in another person's shoes to see how whatever you have done has affected them emotionally, that's where you need to be careful, because that's where I feel like you're treading on that ice, because it's that lack of empathy that's going to cause you to be without that person, that lack of compassion, the lack of loyalty even. Because those are three things that if you want somebody involved in your life, you've got to have. You got to stop thinking about, well, what about me? What about Mo? You know, like everything is not revolved around you. Like there's other people around you. You're not the only one. But I really feel like you just walk around with this arrow pointing down on top of your head, like, pay attention to me, here I am, look at me, like, you know, like the hell with everybody else. I don't know. That's the way it feels right now, and I just feel like that it's not going to be able to continue. I feel it's not. It's like that energy is not even going to be allowed okay in this new energy. You're not going to be able to get away with that. So that's what I feel like is going on with Aquarius.
Yeah, they had me pull, my God, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 14 cards, okay? Well, this is crazy. Okay, I'm going to try and say this as fast as I can because this is a lot of cards.
You're fine.
Aquarius, okay, let me just say this before. You are obviously in an air sign, so communication, you know, is pivotal. It's important. But I think that sometimes, you know, you are the water bearer, so you do bring life into the community or into the environment, you know, and you guys are great. I mean, my north node is in Aquarius, so I understand like I understand the methods in terms of changing things for the masses, you know, but when we change things for the masses, a lot of individuals are left out in terms of what they need and what they want. It serves a purpose, don't get me wrong, but that's kind of what happens, you know, and I feel like sometimes when we change things for the masses, we sometimes, and we have to, you know, Aquarius, you guys are, like I said, representative of the swords within tarot, you know, so you guys rid your emotions to get down to the truth, which is wonderful. But sometimes you can't do that. Sometimes you have to feel. And sometimes you can't do what's best for everyone. Sometimes you have to do what's best for individuals, especially when it comes to like your personal families and to your own personal relationships. Okay, you have to nurture your personal relationships, not just show up. You actually have to be there. That's what they wanted me to say. And I feel like that's why we have the Knight of Swords reversed. You know, this is someone who comes in, their words just cut, you know, and the Knight of Swords can also be someone who cuts everyone around, you know, they're like cutting right through the crowd in a sense. And I feel like, you know, with the Page of Wands here, you're going to have to go back and see what are your intentions? How are you, what are you doing? How are you manifesting them? But most importantly, when you do act out, you know, whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, do you think it thoroughly enough? Do you do you think when you approach it in terms of in your mind how you want to approach it, do you approach it funny, you know, with justice, or do you with fairness, you know, or do you approach it with, I'm just going to say what I need to say because that's just what it is? Yes, but don't do that necessarily. You have to approach situations with justice. You know, what's fair? Who needs what at this specific time? You can't approach it with, you know, with this type of energy where I'm just going to say what I need to say because that's just what I want to do and cut through the whole crowd. Like, no, that goes against who you are because you change things, you know, for, like I said, for the masses, but at the same time, that's a good trait, but then it has its downside, just like any sign, you know, there's upside and downside. But then what ends up happening is that then you end up having to deal with the burden. And when you're ready to drop the burden, who's around to help you build yourself back up if you cut through the crowd? Who's going to be around there and wants to be in your company in a sense, you know? And I feel like that's why the Devil card's here. What's keeping you bound? What are the thoughts? What's keeping you bound in terms of how do you approach the situation? What do you say? What's in your mind? Remember what I went back to? How are you doing it? You know, what are your thoughts before you act things out? Is it coming from a place of love, or is it coming from a place of, okay, they want me to say ignorance and arrogance, which we can't really blame you for ignorance, you know, because if you don't know, you don't know. But you can't say you don't know if you thought about doing it. You know, and I feel like that's why the High Priestess is here as well. You know, this is someone who needs to use their intuition a little bit more because this card right here is not logic. I mean, yes, but not really though. This is more towards your intuition. What are you feeling? Check in with yourself in terms of how you're feeling and what you're about to say and what you're about to do. Is it going to exacerbate the issue, or is it going to, you know, nurture the issue in a sense? Because sometimes we need to nurture the issue. And I feel like that's why the Lover's card is here reversed as well. You know, when you make the wrong decision, then you get stuck in terms of what decision to make next. And then it's kind of a self-detriment. You know, you do it to yourself. You can't do that. And also the Lover's card too, reverse, can also kind of mean, you know, like not nurturing your relationships, not being, okay, you're there, but you're not present kind of thing, you know, like you're physically there, but mentally and emotionally, you're not really present. Like, you know, you're like, well, I came to your birthday party. Yeah, but you sat in the corner and you didn't say anything. Like, yeah, okay, like might as well, why the fuck were you there? Like, you know, that kind of thing. Like, you didn't know. Okay. It's like, they want me to say it's like being an absentee landlord, you know, like that's kind of what it is. Like, I know, I'm sorry, but that's what they said. Like, and you want this, you want the 10 of Cups. Hey, everyone does, but are you going to put the work in to achieve it though? Do you understand what it takes to get here? Most importantly, yeah, you want to get there, but do you understand how to get there? And I don't blame you. Maybe this is where the ignorance may come in, and that's okay. Which you can learn from other people how to get here. But after all of the drama, maybe that you kind of ensue, who wants to give you advice or who wants to be around your presence, you know? And I also feel like Spirit also gave you advice. This is strange. Not strange, but it's great. But so to get here, We need to get over the clash of wills. Sometimes it's not about what you want to do. Yes, at certain times, but you also have to remember what's fair, right? Because it's like this. If everyone around you or the other people around you oblige your emotions at certain times when they necessarily maybe don't want to, or they maybe didn't have it in them to do it, but they didn't tell you that. But then when it's time for for the reversal, where it's vice versa now, where the other people who did comfort you need your comfort or your obligeness, if that's even a word, and then you don't give it to them, that's not fair. That's called greed. That's not reciprocity. And this is all about reciprocity. You're never going to achieve it without reciprocity. And reciprocity also comes from, it's a form of appreciation. And when you don't give the reciprocity, you're basically telling people, screw you, and I don't care for everything that you've done for me. The 10 of Pentacles, lack of commitment. Are you going to commit or are you not going to commit? Are you there or are you not there? Are you going to be an absentee landlord? What are you going to do? It's your decision. That's how you come out of heartbreak, but you'll never achieve this if you don't do those two things. And going back to, guys, did you learn your lesson? Are you going to learn your lesson, most importantly? Because how many times are we going to do this, Yeah, it's like going around and around and around and around and then complaining that you're dizzy and you're sick. Okay, well, get off the damn ride. Like, stop being mean. Like, just get off the ride. Like, they trick me. It's coming through and then they just push it through and I'm like, hey, I got my own devil I'm dealing with, okay? No, I'm just kidding. You could be dealing with Capricorn. You could be dealing maybe with Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. I think that's all I really see here, or a Libra. But I don't feel like, I feel like this is more you. Look, this is a very karmic cycle, Aquarius. Like, look at this.
So many majors.
The devil, the lovers, high priestess, justice. I mean, my God, if that's not karmic, those are all the damn karmic cards. Like, that's crazy. Like, all we need is a wheel of fortune and then, hey, there it is. But yeah, I feel like, of course, this is a very karmic, lesson for you, or a karmic cycle. But once again, I'm going to leave you with this. Are you going to learn or are you not? It's your decision. If you don't, okay, then you're going to be back in the same circle. But with
different people, because I don't feel like anybody's going to stick around to deal with it anymore. I was just about to say that. Yeah, who's going to want to be around you at that point? And then you're left to your own devices. And that's what my general reading was about too. Was just you're going to be left to your own device. I feel like it's like the same story. Like, you're going to be left to your own devices. And then when no one wants to be around you in your company and you don't have this, the 10 of Pentacles upright, when you don't have this, okay, look, they wanted me to show you this too. The 10 of Cups upright, emotional fulfillment from other people or from situations. But are you going to commit to that? And are you going to give that back? That's why you don't have the 10 of Pentacles right now. You have to include the emotional aspect of it, or the emotional part of it. It comes hand in hand. You cannot achieve this unless you have this, and you cannot achieve this unless you have this. There are predications. They depend upon each other. You can't have one without the other. Are we done? Okay, we're done. Damn, that was a lot. Okay, no more shade, peoples. Okay. Pisces left. Okay. Woohoo! Pisces,
right? It's a long one, but hey, we're here for you guys. I don't know why. The whole energy just like shifted, like as we get down to the 12th house, like.
Yeah, it really did. That whiplash, it was real fast. But also, sorry for the interruption, guys, but you gotta go. I'm really sorry for that. But water.
Yeah, Pisces.
All right. Woohoo, fishes. Yeah. The fish. All right, Pisces, what's going on with you? You're still in a chaotic place? Oh, let's see. You still got chaos and drama, Pisces? I feel like you got people at your doorstep you don't want there. Like I feel like you're having a hard time keeping certain people out of your life. You know, it's like I'm seeing a lot of movement. It could be physical movement, like actually moving from one place to another. But I'm seeing a lot of movement with you. I feel like I feel like it's a very active time for Pisces too right now. Like it's very high activity. And it could be because of work. I'm feeling like it's not a bad thing. Hold on. You know, it's like I feel like this high activity going on around you, but I still feel like you're kind of relaxed. I don't feel like Pisces are on edge the way they were. I feel like there is a lot of chaos around you, but I feel like you're okay. I think you're like kind of watching everybody else cut up around you. But I feel like you're okay. Really heavy. Are you Pisces having a difficult time concentrating? Or staying focused? Because I feel like you know what you want, you know how to get there, you'll head that way and then fall off track. And then you're like, oh yeah. And then get back on track and then you keep going and then you fall back off track. Like I feel like that's kind of like I feel like that's what's going on. You need balance, yeah, okay. But I feel like you're trying to do it with balance.
Let me just say this real quick, Quinn. Pisces, do you feel like you've been kind of thinking about, I'm just gonna be really brutally honest, how much you can get away with? Like, what will he say if I don't mention it? Or what would she say if I don't do this? You know, have you been kind of contemplating that, like subconsciously? And it's kind of weird for me to ask subconsciously because it's kind of hard for us to visit our subconscious. But at the same time, I mean, are you trying to maybe see how much you can get away with before you actually fall off track? I feel like that's kind of what I'm picking up a little bit too. Sorry, Kim, to interrupt your flow, but that's where
okay.
I kind of, I'm getting that a little bit too. Like, how much can you really get away with? I feel like that's kind of where I kind of picture that in my head right now. But sorry, Kim.
That's okay.
Go ahead. Go for it.
Yeah. Because like while you're saying that, I'm getting scandalous. Like, so it makes sense. Okay. Mm. Yeah, I feel like you're having a hard time staying work training, yes. Okay. I think you're having a hard time staying on track. You need, you know, I will say like what Mark just said about seeing how much you can get away with. I really feel like that has a lot to do on the job, actually. And I think it's because you are carrying a lot of weight. I feel like it's because you got a lot going on. So maybe cutting corners in certain areas at work. And I'm not saying in your personal life, but at work, maybe cutting corners because you've got so much on your plate. But I feel like all this stuff that you have on your plate, you kind of created. I feel like you took on more, way more than you should have taken on. I feel like you kind of surrounding yourself. Yeah, and I feel like you're kind of surrounding yourself with chaotic people. I feel like you could do less without the chaos. So you can focus on what your goals are and what it is that you need to get done. But I feel like there's a distraction, okay? Like I really feel like you'll be in the process of doing something, okay? And then somebody will come in and just completely throw you off, and then that's it. You're like, you lost it. And the reason why I'm really, really pushing this is because for Pisces, me trying to make this connection, like right from the beginning, as soon as I picked up, my crystal and my pen, and it was like, it's very distracted. Like it's very broken up. I'm not getting like a real solid connection. And to me, that speaks volumes. Like I really feel like you're not getting anything solid done. Like I don't know. I feel like there's a whole lot of confusion. I feel like and it's kind of funny, like the way that this happened, because of all 12 signs that we did, this is the only one where even Mark was like, hold on, let me say something. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There was like that interruption. Like, I just feel like there's a constant interruption with Pisces. You know what I mean? Like in their life, like I feel like they're having a hard time concentrating on anything. Like myself, I'm having a hard time concentrating on getting these messages. I keep interrupting myself with my own lack of concentration. It's very weird the way that this is. I don't know, but I feel like because of this, I do feel like I feel like, I feel like you're having a hard time concentrating because I feel like a lot of old shit that you did in the past is catching up. I feel like okay, it's coming. I feel like the stuff from the past that you've done is catching up. So now you're like trying to cover tracks and you're losing track of your track. And now you're losing track of stories. Like, okay, I know I said this to that person and I know I said that to this person. Oh, wait, what's it the other way around? Like, oh, shit. You know, I really feel like now you're running to catch up because now you're like, I don't want to be that anymore. I want to be this, but that's catching up. So I'm having a hard time getting shit together. Like I'm having a hard time concentrating. Like your mind is, whoo, you're everywhere. You are everywhere, everywhere. It's bananas. Wow. That's crazy. But I really feel like a lot of this is catching up. Like everything from back here, it seems like whatever you did back there, you kick Sally's dog, she just like everything is catching up. I really feel like, but it's a karmic cycle. I feel like all this is karma. And I feel like you're going to make it out of this. I feel like you're going to be okay, but I really feel like you got to face it. And the best way to face it and work through it, and Pisces, if any sign can do it, it's you. Yes, and just admit to it. Like, yes, I did do these things, but I'm on a straight path. This is what I need to do. You may get like a finger pointed at you, repercussions, but I really feel like it's necessary in order to clear this karma and be able to move forward in the direction that you're ready to move in. You really are ready to move in a different direction, start a new karmic cycle, clean slate. You know, I really feel like you're ready for that, but you got to get rid of that old karma. Even if you're not the scandalous type of Pisces, my whole point is there's old karma that's coming up that you need to clear out. So that's what I'm getting.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, especially this Pisces moon was just crazy. Like I've been feeling it all up in my feels, and like I have no water in my chart. My Pisces house is empty, like no water. But like I always say, I'm the first to cry, right? But besides,
yeah, I think I've got a Pisces placement in one place.
Yeah, like I have no water, but I'm the one that's like, oh my God, that has like the bleeding freaking heart. Anyway, I feel like with Pisces, okay, check this out. 2 of Wands, great, wonderful card, you know. 5 of Cups reverse, Death card. That's already very karmic. And what I feel, Pisces, is that when I see the 2 of Wands and the 5 of Cups reverse, I'm going to ask you a question. When's the last time that you forgave someone, or you actually verbally told them, you know what, I'm sorry, you know, that this happened, or I'm sorry that, you know, whatever happened to you, just kind of coming together with someone and apologizing. And I'm getting really big on taking responsibility a little bit, because the 5 of Cups reverse, you know, that can speak of forgiveness or seeking forgiveness. You know, you want to forgive and come out of a period of feeling despair, of walking around, you know, with your head held down, just complete, like, you know, what do you want to say? Like, sorry guys, 1 second.
See?
See? Yeah, I'm like, come on, guys, bring it through. Yeah, it's complete, like, lonesome, right? Because I feel like now you're gonna have to make the decision to forgive yourself, but also forgive the other people. But a lot of guys, listen, forgiveness includes taking your end of the responsibility. You're gonna have to take your end of the responsibility. That includes you have to. That's what forgiveness is, you know? And I feel like that's maybe the cycle, or this is the change that's gonna come. But I think that people, and you need to say it. People need to hear it. Not that, oh, you know, like, oh, like we're friends, so you know. No, if you have certain responsibilities, or you are negligent on certain, you know, aspects, maybe with people, or certain things that certain agreements with people, you know, you're gonna have to fess up to it if you were just negligent in, you know, satisfying it, or you know, completing it. And I feel like that's why the Seven of Pentacles is here, because it's saying, you know, it's letting you know, like, okay, you've dug all those pentacles up, right? But what are you going to do with it now? What's your decision? Where are you at? Which one are you going to pick? You know? And also the Seven of Pentacles for me can mean like a lot of different options that you've worked so hard and you've come up to this point where now you have just, you know, you have choices. But which one are you going to make? It's a little bit like the Seven of Cups, but not really, because Seven of Cups is more like desire and emotion. It's more of which decision or which choice are you going to take, and make a decision based upon a choice. But is it going to be the right one that fortifies your stability? Is it going to be the right one that's going to carry you and move you forward? You know? Because you could be dealing maybe with a Libra, or maybe a Scorpio, or an Aquarius. Just kind of putting that out there. But I don't feel like that's why. I feel like this is more you. Who does this to you though? I feel like you do this to yourself. You know, it's lack of, almost like, okay, if there's lack of forgiveness, it's almost like there's lack of appreciation as well. I'm picking that up too. You need to take the blindfold off already and see what's really there. See what you've dug up. You know, what did you dig up? But most importantly, with the Six of Pentacles, what did you put into it? What did you put into it that you actually dug up? Do they match? You know, what you planted an orange. Are you expecting an apple tree? You know, like, did you put the necessary work in to achieve what it is that you're trying to achieve? And I feel, you know, you got the Six of Wands reversed. Going back to what I was saying earlier, was it Libra or something like that? Yeah, I think it was Libra. Not understanding yourself and other people maybe not understanding you. But forgiveness is a big thing, because that allows yourself, you know, to be vulnerable, and it also allows yourself to see your mistakes. My mother always told me, and I still carry it with me to this day, you know, she said, it's one of my little scruples. You should be somewhat glad when something's your fault, because then you're given the chance to fix the situation. But don't repeat it though, because when you repeat it, that means that you don't give a shit, and you did it for, you know, I don't want to say you did it for the fame, but you did it for just contrivance. You did it because, you know, you wanted to look a certain way, you know. And I feel like at the bottom here, you know, we have the Two of Cups reversed, and we also have the Ace of Wands here. When I see this, it's kind of like, you know what you want to do, but yet the actions that you do and the actions that you exhibit, they don't match up to your intentions. So that's what I'm saying. I'm kind of feeling a little bit like, what's really in your mind? What are you doing? Are you doing this for show? Are you doing this for contrivance? Are you doing this so you look a certain way maybe? I'm getting what you're getting, Kim, kind of like mixed emotions. Like, they don't know if they're up or down or coming or going. And then if you don't know if you're up or down, coming or going, what about the people that are in your life? You know, if they don't know, they don't even know where the hell they are. First of all, like, I mean, if you don't know if you're coming or going. But I feel, look, Libra, maybe you're dealing with Libra, Pisces, two, another two, right? This all has right here has to do with like waiting. This all has to do with waiting to make a decision. So what decision are you going to make? But make sure that you make the right decision, and the decision that you do make sure it comes from a good place, right, of forgiveness, but also make sure that what you give or what you put into it is what you're ready to deal with and what you're ready to actually dig up. And I'm also picking up on the contrary, albeit like, I feel like this is kind of your subconscious a little bit. Like, you're going to have to dig things up and see where it is and the root of things and why you do the things that you do, and why you are maybe, I don't know why I keep getting like negligent on your responsibilities. That's very strange. But, you know, why are you maybe negligent on you giving your responsibilities? Yeah, like kind of going back to the idea of what we said, like, how much can you get away with? You know, it's like asking God, you know, how much can I get away with and still be saved? It's like, what the fuck? No. Like, No, that's contrivance. Like, you're already planning it. Like, what are you doing? Like, no, the root isn't great, you know? Like, and I feel like that's what it is. Is that all I'm picking up? I mean, needing to walk away. Actually, I'm sorry, wanting to walk away. You know, because the Eight of Cups is more needing to walk away. Because when you walk away from certain aspects and certain issues within your life, right? That's when people enjoy your company and you enjoy other people's company. You know, exactly, here we go. And that's when you get the Eight of Pentacles. Because then you're able to mold the situation into what you want to mold it into, because you made the correct decision, because you worked at it, you gave to the situation, you dug it up, right? Because you planted the apple seed because you wanted apples. You know, where is it? That damn card flew away. And then that's why you get the Eight of Pentacles. You know, because then you're able to then mold it to what you want to mold it into. Is that it? Here he goes. He flipped over. See, he was like, no, you're not going to see that card. Like, no, forget it. But yeah, I mean, because you're not here yet, Pisces, you know, that's what it is. You'll get there. Don't drip. You'll get there. But it's going to take work. You know, it's going to take commitment as well. It's going to take honesty. It's also going to take forgiveness. You know?
Were there arcanas in there? Did you have major? Did you have any majors in there?
Yeah, let me see.
What were the majors?
Oh, no, that's not major. Get your life mark. Just two, but there's still two really good cards. They depend on each other. The Star card and
oh yeah,
Death. You know, you can't have transformation without vulnerability. You know, you have.
Well, wondering when. Well, that's completely up to you, baby doll, and you just gotta wait for this karmic cycle to, you know, just sit back and allow things to happen. If things are coming at you from the past that you thought was dead and buried, allow it to come in. If you did something to somebody else, allow them to have their say and just say, you know what? Okay, humble yourself if you need to just allow this energy to flow. But yeah, everybody's karma is on its own watch, you know.
I mean, well, this lunar eclipse, I mean, sorry, the solar eclipse was in Virgo's 12th house. Like, a lot of the shit came from our subconscious and it rose up. And you know, Kim, a lot of things from my subconscious have come up lately. And even you were like, Mark, relax. Like, it has. And I just realized that right now, speaking about the 12th house, like, it has. You know, a lot of our fears and a lot of the things that we push to the side, the I'll deal with it later's kind of thing come up. Yeah. And
I had that real dark part. Remember, like that dark moment. You're like, gosh, I never seen you like that, Kim. Like, I had to go through it. But once I stopped resisting it, I came out of it because I knew. But see, I know how the energy works, so I know that I've got to let it flow. I have to just sit back, even if that means go lock yourself away from people, dig that stuff up. It's uncomfortable. But you know what? Think about like a pimple or a boil. It's painful when you get one of those big doozies. It's really painful. But once it comes to the surface and it releases all the junk that's inside of it, it feels so much better, and then it starts to heal. It's the same exact thing with your emotions and karma coming in. It's like, here you are, right? Here's your body, and karma's coming in, right? You don't even see it, and like poof, pushing that, like all that energy that you had buried down here somewhere, it's coming in like, I don't think so, and like pushing it up to the surface until it's released. Because with the new energy that's coming in, it's more of a collective, it's a collective, it's like going, okay, we're leaving a third dimensional mindset and moving into a fifth dimensional mindset. The higher in dimension that you go, the more angelic you become. Now, we're definitely not angels in the fifth dimension, but we're definitely not down in the third anymore. But to be in a third dimensional place, that's real dense. So to be up here with the rest of the people, you've got to get rid of that dense energy. And the only way to get rid of that dense energy is to clean it out.
Well, you have to make room for the new energy to come in. There's no room for it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And also, Pisces, I'm wanting to tell you, they want me to tell you, I mean, this may be for some of you, I'm not really sure, but they want me to leave you with, okay, two things. Wow, okay. you never realize how hard someone's riding for you until they park. And also, that's funny, Kim, you're gonna laugh at this one. Always let common sense prevail. You know, and that's true. I think that's for all the damn signs. Let common sense prevail. Like, it has to, like,
because your intelligence really isn't shit without common sense. I mean, you've got to be able to have common sense in situations. You could be smart, thinking that
you can be
you
book
get away
smart,
with
but
certain things,
just
but common sense. If you don't have the common sense, common sense is very important.
oh yeah,
Absolutely.
All right, guys. I think this wraps it up. Thank you, guys. It was a little bit longer than we expected, but it's okay. But we got
It was
through all
still
of them.
fun.
Good. There it goes. All right,
Yeah,
guys.
somewhere.
Thank you guys for your tuning in, and we appreciate it. Okay, guys. Remember, let common sense prevail. Okay. All right, guys.
All right.
See ya. Good night.
Thanks, guys. It was fun. All right. Good night.